That blows my mind that somebody can just hand you their drugs.
Yeah, he kept messing with his shirt, and I heard plastic. I'm like, what's this dude got under his shirt? He said, why'd you stop me? And I was like, come here, I'll show you. And as he gets out, he just hands me a bag, and it was 1.5 pounds of heroin. That's like 20 years in prison.
That dude was not a criminal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. I probably stopped some of the worst ones. Like,
Yeah. Kenny, ready, bro?
yes, sir.
We got a good podcast today. So you are still currently an active duty cop.
Yep.
You've accomplished a lot in 20 years of your service so far, close to 20 years.
Yeah.
One of the big things I want to jump into today is drug interdiction.
Cool.
It's something that is a huge problem in this country. Obviously, a lot of drugs are getting moved through ground, through these major highways. And this is something that you have really focused on with your career. I mean, you've seized millions of dollars in narcotics. I'm sure you have found all the ways that these people like to wear and how they hide drugs.
I don't know about all the ways. They're always evolving.
They're pretty creative. Yeah, I've seen
sure.
some videos that are they're always innovating something new, which is probably a lot of fun for you because you are constantly having to watch for these things. It's not just a cookie cut. Okay, they're going to be in the trunk. They're going to be in the backseat in a book bag. They're pretty creative with stuff. And you're a canine cop, which I want to jump into. I love talking to canine cops because it is like a heat-seeking missile that you're in charge of, and it can cause a lot of hate and discontent if not used properly.
My dogs are all single purpose, so they're not as cool as that.
Oh, okay, okay.
But yeah.
Even the searching dogs, anything dog related, I really got turned on to working with dogs when I was in Afghanistan at the embassy, and it was incredible experience being in and around. The military dogs was a different story for us. They were more just wanting to kill everything. So, but you've got a lot, and you have some kind of an interesting tie-in. You grew up with a mom that ended up finding herself addicted to drugs, and now here you are, fast forward, as a drug narcotic officer. And I want to see if there's any tie-ins to that as, you know, we unfold all of this, if that was something that helped get into this, if there's any.
Yeah, that was a lot of the motivation, I think. Not only my mom, there's other family members that I have that
sure.
you know, struggle with addiction, and I think that coming full circle is probably a lot of the motivation that I have, internal motivation that keeps me doing this for 20 years, and I still love going to work, and I still love going out there, and maybe I'm not having impact, but in my mind, it's having some type of small impact that maybe that kilo doesn't get to a mom who has a kid, and you know,
100%.
Maybe there's a small impact, but in the grand scheme of things, probably 100%. Not.
So I'm really fascinated to have this. I normally don't have active duty guys on because they can't really do a lot, talk about a lot of things. But you travel, you're training thousands of officers all over the country. You do some really cool things. So let's just dive into this. We got a lot to unfold with you. So who are you? Where are you from?
Grew up in Indiana. My mom and dad were married for about a total of 3 months. I was conceived. They got married. They got divorced. I was born at 3 months old in the 80s. My dad got custody of me. At the time, I guess I really didn't, you know, I'm tiny at that time, but even going through like visitation with my mom and stuff, things weren't really like clicking, and like I just thought that was normal life. Growing up with my mom, she lived in rougher parts of the state, I guess, you know, like lower income housing and stuff. So I would have to go there like every other weekend and for the summers and stuff. And it was seeing two different worlds completely. Like my grandparents helped my dad out tremendously. They're both blue collar workers. My dad worked in the mill. My grandpa owned his own trucking business, but family dynamics were completely different. And when I was about, I don't know, maybe 14-ish, somewhere around there, I kind of started to see the addiction problem. And maybe when I was like 15 or 16, it was kind of the time that I was like, I'm just not going to have my mom in my life anymore.
How did you know? I mean, obviously you're old enough to know drugs.
Yeah.
What were some of the signs that you started putting together?
I mean, initially it was just marijuana, but you would smell it. I mean, like, you know, I'm in middle school. Like, I mean, I don't know, you're smelling that shit on a regular basis. So, and then I started to see some more of harder drugs, just like left around the house, different personalities. Like her personality was changing. It was very strange. You know, like her as a person was changing. And I don't know when that addiction actually started. I know that she had some surgery. She was always like a heavier set lady, and she had some surgery, and then she started like to lose weight. It was like the lap band surgery, and then she started partying a lot more. Like, so she, you know, and that kind of, I think, maybe like midlife crisis. I don't know what it was, but it started to snowball into all kinds of addiction type things. And still to this day, like I talk to my older sister on that side of my family, and I always say, you know, mom's clean for 6 months. I'm more than willing to try to have a relationship with her, but I don't know. It's challenging just to have someone that's addicted to narcotics, but yet they're not bringing any value to your life. And
For sure.
even being a parent, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm a dick, but like, I don't know. Like if you're choosing drugs over your kids and you have multiple kids, like who's the jerk in that situation?
Oh, absolutely. And it's a really terrible thing. And, you know, I've seen it a million times. I'm sure you have, being in this world of drugs are a horrible thing, man. And they ruin families. They change people. They make people do things that probably never even would have considered in their life. And that chase and that high that they're always after. And they put everything last except for the drug. And
It's crazy to me.
see it every day.
And I guess if like you're a single person, like so be it. Like I'm a cop. You like live your life. But when you have kids, I don't have kids, but I just feel like I would do anything if I had kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing, addiction or anything else. Like all that stuff would be out of the picture, and then I would live for my kids. I don't know. I have dogs, and I live for my dogs. You know what I mean? Like
For
if someone
sure.
hurts my dog, it's a
Yeah.
problem for them, not me.
For sure. And that's where there's that, everybody gets to that Y in the road.
Yeah.
And, you know, my wife's a great example. I'm going to put her shit out. But when we met, I mean, she was young, but dating drug dealers, some of the shittiest people on the planet was just her circle. And then she gets pregnant, fucking immediately overnight, just changed her whole entire life. Knew, hey, this is my future now. Here we are, you know.
That's awesome.
It's almost 20 years later, and they walked from it all. But then you have people that get tied up into it, and it never clicks. Like, hey, I have this little person in my life now. We have a really good friends in our family, and buddy, he ended up he was a hardcore heroin, I believe a heroin addict. Found out he was having a kid, had his brother handcuff him to a pipe in his basement for his whole entire detox and told him to do not let him out. And he did his whole entire detox chained to a pipe in a basement, said it was the worst thing he's ever done, never looked back.
That's impressive. I mean,
For his kid though.
yeah,
But that's what you're saying. Like that's, as a man and a father, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a no brainer for me, but that chemical imbalance in people just, they either have it or they don't. It's really sad.
No, I agree. I completely agree. That's impressive from your buddy though.
Right?
I couldn't imagine, especially like knowing how miserable the detox is, and like I don't know, that's man.
I hear people say the detox is so horrible. That's the main reason they would never get back on it again. But then there's other people that just don't learn. Drugs.
I just don't think they get through the the detox process. They like it's so miserable that they're like maybe they win a few days, but they're like I can't do this anymore. And then just that evolution, horrible cycle.
I'll be honest with you, man. I detoxed off of weed a while back, 2 years ago, and I didn't even think I was like doing it that much. I just, I'll eat edibles to go to sleep. I just don't sleep. It's one of those things. It's just I'll lay there all night. And I cleaned up and I got off everything. Dude, it took me it was like 8 or 9 days to detox off of it. I didn't sleep. I'm waking up drenched in the middle of the night.
I didn't think we did that stuff.
Nobody ever talked about it. And I'm hitting my buddies like, dude, because I had a couple that went through, they were detox at the same time. I'm like, yo, are you struggling on that? And they're like, bro, irritable. I'm talking, imagine jumping in a pool or getting out of your shower and just go lay right in bed. Don't even wipe, dry off. I'm sitting up at night just wiping sweat off of me, just drenched. My whole pillows, the whole bed's drenched. Dude, it was horrible. And I'm like, off of weed? I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine being hooked on anything else. Yeah,
weed.
Whole entire week, just
That's
hell.
insane.
Didn't sleep, irritable, it was
That's crazy. I had no idea. I wonder why that is. Like, or why no one talks about that aspect of it.
You always hear, oh, you don't. It's not addicting. Yeah, I can walk from it at any point, but I was dependent on, especially at least for my sleep. It just tore me up.
Man.
It threw everything out of whack. Just going cold turkey on it.
How do you sleep now?
A lot better. I mean, I run a couple of peptides that help with sleep, and we've dialed everything. I'm one of those. Dude, if I open my eyes in the middle of the night and I see a light, I fixate on it. I'm like, they're spying on me. It's an alien, like that's how I used to. So then once I wake up, then I'm up. I don't go back to sleep, but then it takes me until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to go to sleep. So I'm one of those. But I've definitely dialed, dude. We go red lights at night now. All of our whole entire master bedroom is all red lights as soon as we go to bed. There's no phones. That was a huge one that changed my life immediately. All of our phones are charged on a docking station in the kitchen. Every electronic in the house gets plugged in at night. Nothing goes to any rooms. That was a massive one. It was letting my mind wander wind down before actually going to bed. Lots of little things. We changed out our linen, and like we have actual nice linen on all of our sheets and comforters, and just it's one of those things, man. If you're going to invest in something, I asked a buddy of mine, big fitness guy, biohacker, Chris Gethin. He's been in the industry for a day. He's an OG, fitness bubba. And I was like, if there was one thing that you would invest in your health, what would it be? He's like, sleep. Before anything, it was sleep.
I sleep
And
like shit. So that's the reason I'm asking.
yeah, I have for years. That's even what got me into just doing the edibles and some indica at night. I'm like, 'cause I'm working with all these vets. And so yeah, anyways, back to you. That was kind of a little fucking rant right out the gate. All right. So you finding your mom, you're realizing now you're about 15 years old and you're realizing your mom is using drugs.
Yep.
So what's that like for you? Are you jumping back and forth?
So yeah, I was. I mean, I was still going to visit her, and then eventually I just said like, "Hey, man, like I just don't want to go there anymore." Like I just didn't want, and it was such a weird dynamic because I'm seeing like, and I think all parents like it wasn't like the leave it cleavers or whatever. It wasn't like this perfect home, but it was vastly different from staying with my grandparents and my dad to going over there and being forced to go over there. I remember as a kid, I used to run around and hide in a closet because I didn't want to go over there. I still remember these things, and I was like, why the hell did I not want to go there? And I still don't know why that was, but I would hide in the closet when she would come to pick me up, and it would be the weirdest thing. And I still don't know what that was. But when I started to realize, I was like, man, I'm just tired of going over there. I was like 15, maybe right around like driving age. I for sure right around, but I think it was like 15 that I started to be very vocal about like I just don't want to go there anymore. I just don't want to go there. And I guess at that age, like what is she going to say? And uniquely, like this is a topic that was brought up later to me. Like my mom never paid like child support. She never had to pay child support for me, but yet she had visitation rights. So when I said I didn't want to go over there anymore, that's why my grandparents and my dad didn't give a shit because they're like, well, what didn't take us back to court? Like, you don't give us anything, so what's it matter? She's not paying, so like, cool, like just don't go. You're old enough.
It was a privilege for her to see you because she didn't have custody or anything.
Yeah. I mean, it was a court order, but like there wasn't any like thing that they had to look in as a financial aspect, like, we're gonna have to repay this money or anything like that. So they're like, yeah, just don't go. Like, you're old enough. If the court says something, we'll just bring you in and be like, yeah, I don't want to go over there anymore. So there wasn't a lot of pushback. There was a little bit of pushback from my mom, but not much. Not as much as I thought. You know what I mean? Like, you think...
Do you think that affected you down the run, that your mom didn't fight for you?
No, not really.
No? You were just over it at that point?
Yeah, I think so. I think, if anything, it kind of gave me some peace.
Okay.
Like, it was like almost a relief, like and I guess a stress relief. I don't know if I had stress as a kid, but yeah, it was like, oh, okay, cool. I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to... every Wednesday, every other weekend, and like you're starting to get into like who you are as a person, and
you're building your own life at this point.
Yeah, and your friends become more part of your life than when you're a kid. I feel like so. I kind of just like started to gravitate to more friends, hanging out with more friends, and some of my friends' moms became huge roles in me going through that like teenage to young adulthood with my grandparents. But yeah, like they like I guess they just saw that void, and like there's been many times that I would stay a few days at my friend's house at a time, and like they didn't even want me to leave. They're like, nah, you can just stay whenever you want. Like, and
good for them.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. Like I as weird as it may sound, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like my youth and teenage years were great.
Good. So how old were you out of high school before you went military or law enforcement?
So I had no intention of being a cop by any means whatsoever. My intention was I started going to college and I was going to be a teacher. Like, and then my freshman year of college, 9/11 happened. I don't know if you guys have like Mancow here. He's a big like disc jockey in Chicago, and he always like joked and stuff. But I remember September 11th, I'm driving to college, and he's like joking about but I thought he was joking about a plane hitting a building in New York. So I'm like just random like talking shit or whatever. So I get to college, my class, and I walk in and everyone's like around the TV just staring, and then I got to see the second plane hit the building. So at that moment I was like, well, that's changed my perspective. I just no longer had the desire to be a teacher, and I wanted to go in the military, start talking to my grandparents, and the reason I used is like, hey, like I'm paying for college myself, the military paid for it, I'm gonna go join the military. Waited about 24 hours. They begged me not to go, and they said, hey, we'll pay for college. I was like, all right, kind of took away that. So then that's when I went down the law enforcement avenue.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was the spark for law enforcement?
I think it was, so the reason I wanted to be a teacher is like again, trying to like guide kids that maybe are coming from some type of background that I was coming from.
Yeah.
Then I could guide them like, yo, I was there. Like, this is the right way. I mean, you're going to see shit, but you know, you can make these decisions and you don't have to follow that. You know what I'm saying? And then that's kind of where I was like, okay, law enforcement, maybe I can have that same impact as a teacher. And that's kind of where it just all started.
Oh, shit. Good for you. Okay, so academy. I know it's been 20 years. What was the academy like for you?
Well, getting into law enforcement was problematic if we want to talk. Like, so
Yeah, absolutely.
I started testing when I was 20, because you could test. And then when I was 22, I decided to drink way too much and hit a tree. And then I got arrested for OWI.
Oh, no shit.
So then that kind of delayed me about 3 years. So at 25, I finally got hired. That was definitely a hurdle and humbling experience for me. But when I was 25 years old, I got hired by the agency that I'm with and going through the academy. I mean, the academy is not, I had the luxury of going to academy, but going home at night. So I didn't have to stay there. It was like a regional academy.
Yeah.
And I tell everyone, like, as long as you're in shape, like everything else is pretty easy. But if you're struggling about like just going through PT every day, it makes everything else miserable. But like,
sure.
I've always worked out. I'm not the biggest dude in the world, but it's some stress reliever, and I've never fallen out of that trait since like high school. So like going through PT was nothing.
Yeah.
And then the rest, even if I was struggling, like, okay, I could go home and focus on the academics. I'm not like dying and sore and then I know tomorrow it's going to be another hellish day. Like I could literally just go home and focus on the academic aspect of it.
Oh, for sure.
So it wasn't as hard as people do make it sound. Challenging for sure. Me not having any type of, and people yelling at you and shit, like wasn't in the military. So that was kind of different to say the least, I'm like, that's fucking weird kind of, like,
why are we getting yelled at?
Yeah. Wearing the wrong color socks and stuff, like the littlest things, man. And we had some knuckleheads that like forget, like, I don't know how you like forget like one shoe or forget their tie. And I'm like, so we're all just getting smoked. And I'm like, I fucking hate you right now, man. Like, why? Like, how hard is it to like literally pack shit up the day before and bring it? Like, how do you forget like a shoe or bring socks or your tie? Like, it's 18 weeks and you bring the same thing every day. Like, how do you forget something? I don't know. Those things were fucking frustrating though, Plus when we went, I'm up north and it was, I started in January. So like, and
oh god,
yeah. So, things outside, miserable. And if we messed up, things were outside and typically they would be in a gym for the most part. But if people forgot shit and we're getting smoked, it was anywhere. And they would kind of wait till we like started to walk from like the gym to like the classroom and then smoke us in the like freezing, dying, miserable.
Yeah. There's a science behind it.
Yeah,
for sure.
It sucked.
In mass punishment, that was one of the things in the military with mass punishment that just, I was just every time, oh my gosh, some random dude would do something and then we're all getting hazed for it. Mm-hmm. That used to just straight 0 to 100 as far as driving me batshit crazy.
Yeah, I think if we would have stayed somewhere for like the entire time, people would probably have been in fights. There's no doubt about it. Like because we were so pissed, but by the time like, you get to the end of the day and then you get to go home and calm down, like you might be pissed the next day, but it's not still like, you're not on a 10.
Yeah.
If we're living together, like, there was definitely going to be fights. No doubt about it.
People were going to get checked at night.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For sure. Mm-hmm. There was a few dudes in our boot camp platoon that got some sock parties. And so that was interesting to see for the first time. Somebody getting beat up by a bunch of socks and or soap and socks, And so it was one of those like, hey, keep screwing up. So, okay. Do you remember your first day on the job as a cop?
Don't remember first day.
No.
I do remember like some things through my first little bit of time. So for me, I got hired in October, didn't go to the academy till January. So that first little bit of time, like I'm doing things within the agency. I'm riding with cops and all that other stuff. So I'm learning, but I don't necessarily remember like my first actual day on the job as far as like being in the FTO process or whatever it may be. I do remember like there's certain things during that process that stick out that, but I don't remember my first day at all.
What's it like as a new cop back then? Just fresh. Granted, you had a little bit of time to get your feet wet before jumping into the FTO program, but do you remember just being a young cop 20 years ago?
Yeah, it was. For me, it was pretty terrifying. I'm introverted by nature.
Yeah.
To get where I'm at now and like talking in front of people and stuff, it is a process. And it's still pretty taxing to me when but as far as like, that was kind of hard. I was 25 years old. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have kids. So that whole thing, for me, even talking on the radio was intimidating.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I don't know why. Like, I remember in the FTO process, like, hey, talk on the radio. I'm like, I was terrified. I was like, no, like, I'm not doing this. Like, you're gonna have to at some point. I'm like, but I was terrified for whatever reason. And like, and back then we used to use like 10 codes and signal codes and like not everything now is more plain English. Like, just say whatever, because criminals like learn the 10 code, so it's no point. Like, I still don't really understand why we did that for generations, but yeah, like, even those, like, so I would go home and study those just so I knew how to talk on the radio and make it sound like I knew what the hell I was saying. But I don't know, I was terrified to even talk on the radio, going to calls for service by myself, and you're having these people in their 50s, marital problems, and I'm like 25 years old, like, and I at the time I probably even looked younger. I mean, I was like 140 pounds, 150 pounds, like this kid. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm like, I can't pretend like I can help you through your marriage right now. Like, I have no idea. I was like, just don't hit each other, I guess. Like, like
that's what people don't think about with these young cops. I mean, I've had other cops say like, I'm showing up domestic violence houses. Like, I'm 20 years old. Like, hey, I'm 20. Like, why am I here? You guys are grown ass adults. So that's a funny thing inside talking to cops, is dealing with and that's fighting couples.
Yeah, then I mean, that's kind of the majority of the call. I mean, for me, accidents and those types of things, like domestics and problems with your kids and neighbors and stuff like that. And that's a lot of our calls for service. It wasn't like, I don't come from necessarily like this very violent area. Yeah, we have a lot of calls for service, but it's like that stuff. It's theoretically, in the grand scheme of things, is probably pretty important to the people that are calling, but in the grand scheme of law enforcement, it's pretty minor.
So you're not dealing with a ton of high violent crimes then, I mean, or at least during that time.
I mean, my city probably a homicide a year, if that, just to give you perspective, like maybe one, maybe two, nothing crazy.
I find it interesting when because obviously I talk to a lot of cops, of how they handle things based off of the criminal activity. Because I've talked to cops that work in small little rural areas that might have a homicide a year, and then you talk to a cop in Oakland that's dealing with a shift.
Right.
And how just the perspective on like, yeah, we had zipped up Ford today, and then just pulled over this old lady for drunk driving, and then you talk to some cop from the Midwest, who are like, someone's murdered, and like the whole town shuts down, and it wrecks places for such a long time. So it's really cool to see the different perspectives in law enforcement units, or at least departments across the country, because it's so different.
It is vastly different.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
My city does border, like, we're like 35 minutes out of Chicago. To get perspective. So we do have some like bleed over with like of the robberies, the thefts, the stolen cars, those types of things, but not necessarily like in our city where we're having to deal with, knock on wood, a bunch of homicides within a year. That's good. Just a lot of drugs then? Yeah, we see a fair amount of drugs, and in the city itself, it's a lot of it's passing through. Okay. On the interstates, Chicago's such a hub for narcotics, like for sure. So you're seeing it, coming from the West Coast, being broken down in Chicago, or coming all the way across to New York or whatever. Maybe Miami, pretty straight shot. Chicago's a nice central hub for it all. Oh, absolutely. How long were you just like a normal cop on the beat until you started doing some special assignments and things? So I did 5 years in patrol, and then without any type of interdiction, and then in 2012, 2012. I was doing patrol and then part-time interdiction. Okay. Which was basically like an overtime assignment. I got a certain number of hours a week that I could go up on the highway, or a month. And then in 2016, based on some luck, they offered me an opportunity to go up there full-time. And it's kind of what I've been doing ever since. Okay, let's jump into drug interdiction, because I'm one of those. I love watching highway stuff and guys getting rolled with huge caches and all kinds of stuff in their cars. And so, so let's jump into drug interdiction. How did you get pulled into that? Going through the academy, you kind of find your niche and things like. I had no idea what interdiction was. We had like a 3-hour block with a team that was right by us. They're really good. They're amazing. They still are out there operating. And I was like, man, like if my purpose of this is to take narcotics off the street, and I'm finding a gram at a time. Like, but what if I found 1,000 at a time? Like they're showing, you know? And I was like, so I was kind of hooked. From that point on, like anytime I saw schools or anything along those lines, or if I saw those guys working and they were working in my area, I'd like just bother the shit out of them to like learn. And then I just started bugging enough of the right people to get assigned to this part-time team that I had heard about. And we'd go through the interview process and eventually I get assigned to that. But I think it was more of either I was annoying as shit and they just like, well, just give this kid a chance or like either he's going to, you know, either he's going to fail or he's going to succeed, but let's just throw him up there and see what he does. But yeah, like I kind of just lined my entire profession with like classes and bugging the right people in order to focus more directly on that. With the hopes, because at that time we didn't have anyone on the highway or anything like that. So it was all hopes like, all right, I'm just going to take as many classes as I can, focusing on this small niche part of law enforcement.
What are the classes consisting of?
Same types of things that like it's a lot of the stuff back then was more like travel patterns, driving patterns, trends, which trends come and go. So it's not a foundational way to look at interdiction, but a lot of the stuff was kind of like that, like the trends, like, hey, what current trends? And it would be
what are trends?
Trends are things that people are doing. So there's all these intelligence gathering analysts all over the country. So what happens is, say you stop a car, say a Nissan Sentra, and it has a compartment in it, and it's in the trunk or wherever it may be. Then they'll take all that analytical work and then they put it out as like, and then someone will come and talk about the current trends. But trends to me don't mean anything, because if you stop a Nissan Sentra and you call me like, hey, I just stopped a Nissan Sentra with a trunk or a compartment in the trunk. Now are you telling all your boys? So now we're all looking at Nissan Sentras and everything else that's coming by, or just go, you know what I mean? So trends don't give me any type of weight in the interdiction game. It might be something that you heard or you saw, and then you went and told your boy, and then he told his boy, and then all of a sudden that's all we're looking at is Nissan Sentras when they're still using everything else. So trends.
Were there ever any good trends that were, I don't want to say a cash cow for you guys, but that you were looking out for every time?
So when I first started working in interdiction, it was when like the Northwest and the huge like black market weed and all that stuff was blowing up. Okay. And it was only like out here in maybe Colorado at the time. Yep. So we were seeing a lot of Northeast money coming out to the Northwest and the dope going back and forth. So it was pretty I would say back in the day it was pretty easy. It was a lot easier because, I mean, again, if you're bringing 300 pounds of weed back, it's not like you could throw a couple kilos in the compartment in the car. For sure. You know, so it made the job easier. But for me, what it helped me do is like get better at my interviews, get better at talking to people, understand like the deception in human behavior, focusing on that early in my interdiction career.
Let's focus. I want to talk about that.
Okay.
I find it fascinating of human behavior when people are lying and caught in situations and the things that they do and they don't even realize they're doing. How are you picking up on that type of stuff?
There was a book that changed my perspective. It's called Spy the Lie. I don't know. Or it's some, I don't know. And again, like I have ADHD, so I can't read, so I listen to audiobooks. Yep. But it talks more of like, in like this type of format of picking up on lies. But I started to just listen to that until it ended, and I'd listen to it again. All the time when I'm working, that's all I would listen to is that audiobook. Open my mind to some other books and stuff like that. But for me, like the deception aspect of it is a lot of fear and stress from people comes from the fear of the unknown. So if you get stopped by the police, are you going to get a ticket? Are you going to have to go to court? Are you going to have to pay fines? Like whatever it may be. So if you're able as a cop to put people at ease, and explain like, hey, listen, I'm just going to give you a warning. This is not a huge deal, blah, 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 go through the stop. Like a lot of that stress and anxiety goes down. If you're a criminal, it could be as small as like you have a suspended license. That criminal minds don't play. Even though I'm telling you like, hey, it's all good. Like, don't worry about it. You're still thinking like, well, last time I got stopped with a suspended license, they gave me a ticket anyways, or they towed my car, whatever it may be. So like you try to put them down at ease as much as possible, almost from the get-go, and then have that one-on-one conversation with them and be understanding and empathetic, whatever they're going through or whatever they did. And just, like being a human. Like I feel like even me as a young cop, like I was very robotic, and I think that the academies kind of mold you that way. They always teach worst case scenarios. They kind of have to, right? Yep. So like as cops, I think we have to get away from that and just come back to being more like human and having normal interactions and stuff. And not, I don't know. I feel like sometimes we watch videos and we're always going to see the worst ones, but you always see like ones that make something this small into something this big, and it's like, dude, you could have resolved that with just being understanding and empathetic for like 10 seconds, like calm down, like, and I get it. We all have bad days, and we're seeing the worst ones, but it's still frustrating because that's where the profession, the light on the profession comes. It's like these negative incidences, and it makes us all look bad.
And that's why it's so nice to see cops, especially I talk about it with all law enforcement officers, the Second Amendment auditors. I actually have a huge one coming up soon.
Nice.
We'll see how it goes. He's a little rough on cops, but I love the Second Amendment auditors because it shows the different types of law enforcement officers, and you can get some old crusty guy that walks up and he's like, 100% of you're right, boys. Just, they don't want you on their property. And then that's the whole situation.
Yeah, and no one watches that one, which is great.
And then you get some young kid or even some old captain or chief. They're just, in the face, and it's immediate take it to 10. And it's like, what are we doing? And then it gets millions of views. And it's like, okay, there's your image of law enforcement now. 100%. And it's like, how are we in 2026? And these cops don't even realize that you could stand on a sidewalk and film whatever you want to film. No problem at all. It is just, but that's the same thing. And that's why I get so frustrated when I watch these things. I'm like, guys, like, it's the same thing with us in the military. Like when the war was such at its high, we couldn't, dude, there was a video of the Marine throwing a puppy off of a cliff or some shit. All of us are like, bro,
yeah,
we're doing way worse shit, but we're not filming it and putting it on the internet. So it's like, you have that image, it's like, okay, everybody doesn't like us. We're in the foreign country. It's a war. We have to be on our P's and Q's. But then when it comes to law enforcement officer, it's like, dude, just go talk to the guy. Just see the interaction first. And I'm one of those. I mirror and match. If a cop walks my window, just an asshole, and my wife hates it. I'm like, bink, okay, we're now equal. But if a cop walks up, like, hey man, I'm like, yo, sorry, my bad, bro. I was just not even paying attention. And 99% of the time, they're super cool. But then you get the guy, and then of course, just who I am and my ego, I'm gonna beep, 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 beep the whole entire time, and then just piss them off, just because, like, bro, you don't have to be a dick to me. Okay, cool, I was speeding, you got me. Go write my ticket, we'll be on our way. But like the fact that you have to throw little jabs and shit, that's where I'm gonna play back. Like I'm just one of those.
I when I talk in my class, that's exactly what I say. I'm like, you just talked about mirroring. So I walk up to, and if it's a young person, I talk to him like I talk to my friends. Like, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? This is where I stopped you. Like, not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. Elderly people, it's sir, ma'am, just showing the respect. And if someone's a jerk to me, I do have videos where I kind of, like I raised, and I don't know why I do it. I was on bad days, and I showed that in my class. I'm like, don't do this shit. But for the most part, you talked about mirroring, and I like mirroring because if you're elevated, if I start talking quieter, most people will then, we could be motherfucking each other, but we'll be whispering and no one hears it. You know what I mean? So like the mirroring thing actually works, and I talk about in my class all the time, just mirroring, and like we should, as a profession, just be better at it. Do I have bad days? Sure. I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means. I show, I show stops where I'm like, guy was just motherfucking me, and I was motherfucking him back for no reason. I was like, I look like an asshole. No matter what. Cop could be right in that situation. You still look like the jerk because you're the professional.
Yeah. Okay, so on this topic, I didn't know this had a term for it until one of the cop episodes of code switching, which you kind of said that you do by, you're talking to young guys so you're connecting on them, different than you're talking to an elderly person, than you're different than talking to probably a gangbanger or whatever. A lot of cops disagree with that. They say you should talk to every single person the same, no matter what. And then you have the other side of law enforcement officer, like, you can't talk to some 15-year-old gangbanger the same thing you're talking to Betty Boop driving around on a Sunday that ran a stop sign. It came out the code switching was the term for it.
I've never heard of code switching, but I just talk to people like I would in real life. Like if I see an elderly person, I'm not gonna be like, hey, yo, what's up, man? Like, I'm like, hey, sir. Like, and if I see a young, hey, what's up, man? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever it may be. I don't know if that's code switching. I talk to them like I would talk outside of uniform. Like that's how I treat people outside of the uniform, and I'm not changing who I am. I do. So I mean, I never heard of code switching, but that kind of makes sense. I understand what
I didn't know. I would have called it mirror and matching too, because like I'm big on it. That's one thing we teach our girls. And hey, match what's going on. It's a life. I think it's an incredible skill to be able to have and to master, is being able to mirror and match the room in your scenarios that you're in. I mean, obviously you live in it every day, so it's a really important thing. But that's when I was talking about, and then it came out on one of our reels, like, this is code switching. This is code switching. And then other guys were like, you don't ever code switch. Us as law enforcement officers, you should never code switch. But I'm like, in my mind as a civilian, not law enforcement officers, I try to relate it. Okay, let's talk about military experience. Like, I'm not kicking in a door off of somebody that we're just courting, search and knocking and whatever, versus we know this is a house that there's probably going to be some guys in there with that are a little hostile. we're not going in like, hey, gentlemen, how are we doing today? And here, it's different. And I mean, it could go, I feel like it goes into any part of any day life. It could be a normal job where you're, I don't want to say code switching, but that was just the term we used for it. It was very fascinating how some cops say, you do not talk to anybody different. It is the same. And I'm like, so
it's impossible. It's impossible. Like in real life, there's no way. So you're telling me you talk to your wife the same way you talk to your neighbor? Like in real life, you talk to different people different ways, no matter what the situation is. So as a cop, again, you're going back to that robotic thing. I have to be like this and this regimented person. Now instantly you're creating a barrier. Like I'm better than you, and you're not relatable. Like that's complete bullshit. And I don't even.
You know who gave me a ton of shit on it? He's a prior cop. He's got a gold flavor saver thing, mustache, goatee. He's a kind of a heavier set dude, and he just trashes cops. He's out of Vegas. He was in my DMs and comments for a long time. I'll send him, but he was just like, and he's a big advocate for calling out cops. And he was just like, you need to never switch your tone. Like, this is what's wrong with cops. And I'm like, how? And I'm trying to think of myself, okay, if I'm a cop, I roll up to this.
Disagree. He'll probably tear me up. I don't give a shit. I completely disagree. Like, there's no way. Like, that's what's wrong with this profession. That's what's wrong. Like, and like, you can't be this regimented, authoritative figure day in and day out, and you think that you're going to have the buy-in and the support from the community when, like, you're a complete jerk or like this regimented person. You can't be empathetic and understanding. You can stand on like and have a plan to whatever the situation goes and be that person without voicing that.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I disagree with that.
It's the cop that shows up to the quinceañera at midnight and the music's still bumping. You're not going to there, shut it the fuck down.
Yeah, you want to fight everyone? Like no way. Like
it's like, why are you walking there? Hey guys, listen, we got some complaints. I'm cool with the party. We just turn everything down. Mm-hmm. We don't make us come back here, and you guys can enjoy the rest of the night.
100%.
Now, that's up to the person you're talking to. They have they got a coin switch flip if they're going to listen to you. Then if you get called back, cool. Then you start escalating the situation. But yeah, I'm one of those people, and I pride myself on make it make sense. And then when I hear the cops and it just go crazy over, you do not talk to anybody different. It's all the same. And in my mind, I sit there and I think, I'm like, okay, if I'm pulling over some Nissan that's tinted out, freaking, you got 4 or 5 gangbangers in there. Like, granted, you're going to walk up and talking to them in a different situation. Like, you're not going to come in, let me see your hands and all this crazy shit, because now you're automatically escalating it, but you're going in there differently than if you're pulling over some old lady in a neighborhood. And that to me, where I'm just like, I feel you have to mirror and match, and code switch is, I guess, the top cop term for it. And yeah, so that's why I love asking cops on it, because it's a hard line. You either do it or you don't. And
it's interesting. I mean, like that. I'm hoping that's a dying generation of cops, to be honest with you.
Boomer thinking.
Yeah, like, because I mean, like, man, like, I don't know. We see those videos, and I'm like, man, it's just cringy, and even the cop could be right. It's still like you're not being empathetic, you're not being understanding, and you're just sitting there like, I don't know, that whole like I'm authority guy. Like, why be that? I don't know. It's strange to me. Strange.
Yeah, very interesting. It's such a hard job too. But back to the interdiction stuff. No, dude, this is wild chaos, bro. Welcome to the show. I never know. That's where people are like, I never know where these episodes are going to go. I'm like, either do I. But so the interdiction stuff, what's that like? Because I feel, to me, that would be one of the biggest highs as a cop, is actively hunting drug traffickers.
It's the best job. Second best job. I think having a dog is probably the best job. But interdiction is definitely number 2. Because having a dog, we'll
get to the dog. We'll get to the dog.
So interdiction definitely, and I feel like when we hire new guys at my agency, they get to come ride with me on the highway. And my goal all the time is to gauge if we get a seizure. And if you're excited, I'm like, you have potential to come up here. You know what I mean? Like, and because now you're always thriving for that next one. It's almost like you're addicted to the dopamine hit of
for sure.
And for me, it's not so much like what you have in the car. If I beat you at that mental game that you've prepared to beat me with, like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go be a criminal, and you're going to do whatever it may be. And if I could beat you in that mental game during a traffic stop, which theoretically 7 to 10 minutes roughly, like all encompassing, some longer, some shorter, but just say approximately 7 to 10 minutes, and you've planned for weeks, months, years to beat me, that's all I need. I don't know why that's what is rewarding when it comes to interdiction.
So what do you, in that 7 to 10 minute interaction with somebody that you've pulled over, in that window, what are you looking for? What's the mental game that you're playing with them? Just to get them to open up and say the wrong thing.
I try to have something relatability. I have tattoos, so that sometimes that's what we'll talk about, and like sports teams or whatever, like like something that I could have in common with you, and I can see that you have that. Like if you're wearing a jersey or what, something along those lines, something that's relatable. So then, I mean, during a traffic stop with me, I'm talking like during the encompassing of the traffic stop, I'm with you the whole time. So I'll go stop you, I'll get your information, and then I come up there and I'm writing my ticket or warning with you right there. So I'm talking to you the whole time. It's not this go get your information, go sit in my car, write your ticket, come back. And so the whole time I'm with you talking to you. And in that 7 to 10 minutes or whatever it may be, we're talking about everything. And I don't do it in like a chronological order or anything along those lines. We're kind of like bouncing around talking about bullshitting. Also, when I have you with me, I feel like it's a lot safer because if you're thinking worst case scenario, rational people will make irrational decisions.
100%.
So if I see that stress and anxiety going up, I'll start talking about like tattoos, like, hey, like, blah, blah, because I don't want you to think worst case scenario, like someone told on me, he knows I'm doing something wrong, whatever it may be. So like all of that is just a huge, I don't know. There's lots of conversation that can happen in 7 to 10 minutes. I can learn a lot about
100%.
you. And again, my main focus though is just to understand where you're traveling, how you're traveling, like does this car belong to you, those types of things. The courts have ruled that we're allowed to ask, like during the course of a traffic stop, your origin, destination, purpose of trip, relationship to the vehicle and occupants and those types of things. So that's kind of, where it all starts. And I just don't ask it in that format. Like, where you come from? Where you going? How long are you going to be there? How do you know these people? Those types of things. It's like all over the place. So we're talking about, and your name's Steve. Okay, cool. Like you still live here? Yeah, yeah. Oh, I see that you have a Phillies jersey on. You like the Phillies? And then kind of just, distract them for a minute, then come back to the, their travel plans, and it kind of put them at ease to go through that stop. And then if that stress and anxiety is there or keeps rising through the stop and you already know that you're not getting a ticket and you're just getting a warning, then we'll have extended conversations about like if you're being deceptive about your travel patterns or any other things.
How do you know though? I know it's a lot of feel and just it's hard to explain, but how do you, okay, so I guess my question is, as a drug narcotics interdiction team member, what is something that somebody says you're like, there it is?
It's never, it's going to be an accumulation of things.
Okay.
And I ask a lot of open-ended questions. So it's not like I say, oh, so how long were you in Los Angeles? Or, and then I'll ask you how old you are. So if you're able to tell me your age, your address, your birth date, and it's like short to the point, I'm just comparing your answers to your normal answers. And a lot of people will do one or two things for me specifically. If they're trying to hide or cover up their travel plans, they start to overtalk it. Should be like if you tell me, hey, what's your address? And you just tell me your address and you don't add anything, like, oh, it's a beautiful house and I live at this, like, okay, maybe that's your normal response. I just bought this house or whatever it may be. But then I say, typically people just give me their address. Then I say, oh, where you come from? They're like, oh, I've never been, but I went out to Los Angeles and I flew there and now I'm driving back and all this other. I'm like, I didn't ask any of that. I asked where you're coming from, and you just added things to try to make this sound like better or more convincing or whatever it may be in your mind that you're trying to do. So a lot of times it's people that just overtalk and freely give information. Some things that people do, I stop them and be like, hey, I stopped you for this. And they tell me their entire travel plan like that. I've never,
so
it's like a rehearsed
scripted?
story. Yeah, it's like a rehearsed story. And they want to get it out as soon as possible. So then they're like, okay, so if I ever get stopped, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm like, hey, I stopped you for this, and they'll interrupt me like mid. They'll be like, yeah, I just flew from, New York, and I went to, Sacramento, and I was out there. I'm like, okay. Like, I'm asking you. Like,
so as they're talking, are you like, check?
Oh, yeah,
check?
yeah,
Is it
yeah.
mental?
Yeah.
So in your mental checkboard, what are some major things as soon as they check, you need to start digging into?
That's a huge one. Like, if I stop you and you say, like, you tell me this whole story, that's something that I'll dig into. And a lot of people will remember lies in chronological order. So if it's a fabricated story and you add all this stuff together, I'll go back later and I'll be like, hey, so after you went to Sacramento, you said you stopped where? And then if they repeat the whole story again, because it's a lie, and typically they'll have to repeat it again. Innocent people, typically, for me, if you had a trip and you went all over the place or whatever it may be and you stopped at multiple locations, they might pause for, after Sacramento, I went to Denver, but you didn't tell me the whole thing again. Those are some things that in criminals there's good ones and there's bad ones, so I'm probably catching more of the bad ones, but like these are some things that I pick up on a consistent basis when like they just willingly like give you so much information. It's crazy.
That's hilarious. Okay, so once you have the green flag in your mind, okay, this guy's got drugs, potential of having drugs in their
just
car.
Criminal. I can't say drug, just a
okay. This guy is raising all the green flags for me to dig more.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that?
So for me, like once we get to a point, and I've, maybe, I don't know, a certain number of independent things that I believe criminal activities afoot, then I'll just go straight into them. I'm like, hey man, do you have any of this in your car? Do you have any of this in your car? Do you have any of this in your car? And I give them ample opportunity to respond. And then at the end, I'm like, can I search your car? And if it's yeah, and you would be amazed at how many people tell you yeah, in those situations. And I don't know what it is. I think someone told me the other day that it was like 73% of traffickers give cops consent to search. Something like that. I was like, well, again, that's analytics and the back end of it with trends and those types of things, which I'm like, I don't know how much to buy in there, but that.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's probably realistic because the traffickers aren't the kingpins. They're the grandma that's struggling or some little Mexican lady that's trying to pay her bills. And they're like, hey, we'll give you $3,000 to just drive this car to New York and park it here.
Yeah,
I mean, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but that's where my mind goes to. They're not these, which they probably could be, but I feel most of them probably are not lifelong drug runners where...
It's very rare. Like, you might see some people that are raised within the organization and have like, family members, but a lot of what we see is people probably like down on their luck, and then a friend of a friend knows you're vulnerable, knows you need money, whatever it may be. Yep. We see some addicts that get indebted to people and then start to do it.
I had a guy on our show that he in Detroit or Chicago. He was in debt and had to do a bunch of crazy stuff till he paid it off. Then he obviously cleaned his life up. But yeah, he was
I mean, and so like you see those, and that's where that empathy comes in as a cop. Like, I think if you're an authoritative figure and you stop someone, I mean, that is down on their luck and now doing this, they're not going to be cooperative with you. But if you're cool with them and empathetic and understanding, I think that goes a long way with someone that is not a hardened criminal. They're just down on their luck, and maybe that's why a lot of the interdiction stops theoretically get consent then.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first big bust that you got the high from?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What was that?
Aftermarket compartment Jeep Cherokee. It was $63,000.
Cash?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is where I have a hard time myself.
Law
enforcement.
So this is. Oh, what do you mean?
I could never be a cop or border patrol because I'm a different person now. But when younger and being at the age to join border patrol and cops, I'm watching these shows. They're pulling bricks of cash out of dashboards and like gold plated AKs. I would have taken all of that shit. Like 100%, I would be in jail or prison right now.
I was terrified of jail or prison.
Yeah.
Kind of claustrophobic in general, let alone like not having my freedom.
Dude,
like I was like, there's no way. Like there's that has never crossed my mind. Like if I found $1 billion and I could like leave forever and no one would ever find me, like maybe $1 billion, something outlandish that I'll never come across. But yeah, like, dude, I'm still terrified to go to jail. Like to be
just my life now. Yeah, I would be like, oh, dude, my life's over. But in my early 20s, when getting out of the military stuff, I'm like, Border Patrol looks great. And then I start digging into it. I'm like, man, no way. I'm taking this shit 100%.
We see people. I mean, you see like I don't know. You see Border Patrol guys that like somehow get involved with the cartels and
me. I would 100% been one of them. I'm just being straight up, dude. I'm not saying this. I literally, when I was going through the process, I ended up pulling my whole I stopped the process. I was like, I'm gonna get caught up in this. I already know it. Like, not that I look for criminal stuff at that time in my life, but I was the one that would have been like a $90,000. Like, yup, my gold Desert Eagle. Yup. Like that's coming home. We're in the middle of the desert. I got some illegal Mexicans out here. Like 100%. I know it happens every day. You hear about the cops and people saying like, cops stole all this shit from me. I would have been one of those. So I just knew I was smart enough at that point in my life to be like, I'm going to end up in prison if I pursue being, I'm going to pull out some platinum jeweled cartel Desert Eagle. And I'm just going to be like, whoa, coming home with me 100%.
I mean, I give you a lot of credit
That's
for
just
having enough foresight to at a young age to see like, oh shit, like, I'm gonna do
No,
some
and
dumb
I'm
shit
not
here.
even kidding. Like I literally, I started watching and digging in the videos, and I started watching that stuff. I was like, no way. Because I'm seeing them. They're like counting it. And they're in the middle. They're on the border in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, all right, partner, start counting it. I'd have been like, yo, dude, we got mortgages. Like, are we tracking this? One of those deals. Anyways, back to your big bust. Me not going to prison. So you find, so you pull over a Jeep Cherokee. This is your first big bust. What was this like? What were the signs that they gave you?
So Jeep Cherokee, at the time we were seeing a lot of temp plates being used, like because newly registered cars, kind of like, temp plate, Jeep Cherokee, stop the car, driver's out of Texas, doesn't know who owns the car.
Red flag.
Yeah, told me that he went down to either Indianapolis or Cincinnati, somewhere, and was on his way back. Just went down there for a few hours, like to visit a friend or like some like outlandish story, like short trip or long trip, short stay. Doesn't know own a car. Like just flew in today or the day before, or something along. Like there was a lot, and it gives me consent to search and aftermarket compartment. So like they've modified the cargo area, and I searched that car for 3 hours, and finally the bad guy felt bad for me, and he was like, do you just want me to open that for you? And I was like, please. And he opens the compartment and literally just basically, I think he was tired of waiting, and I knew that there was something there. I knew exactly where it was at. I just couldn't get into it. And limited knowledge, this was a month on the highway, and I'm only working 20 hours a month. So like I wasn't very versed in it.
He opened the compartment for you
100%.
And ratted himself out.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I knew it was here. I was like, I might have said something to the effect like, yo, I know there's a compartment like right here. I mean, like either I'm going to like crowbar this thing open or you'll open it for me. And he's like, I'll just open it for you. I was like, cool, thanks, man.
And it was $63,000 in cash.
All like heat sealed. It was in an LS Airs or.
But what's illegal about that?
So there's nothing illegal with cash if it's legitimate cash. But if it has any type of nexus to criminal enterprise or anything like that, you start putting things in aftermarket compartments that you've made to hide contraband. We can do things like ion scans to see if there was drugs in there recently and those types of things. So then we'll scan the bottom of the compartment to see if there's like residue of any type of narcotics and those types of things.
Oh shit.
But you could, I mean, if you had $1 billion, you wanted to drive it around, you could drive it around all you want. Like no big deal. Seizing cash is something, it's a byproduct of working interdiction, but we go through great extent to make sure that we're not taking innocent people money. Because I'll give criminals their money back all day long before I take some innocent person's money.
Oh.
We have like so for us, we have, if I go through the whole stop, find it roadside, we'll have a detective, and then we have an actual attorney that does a lot of stuff. And in order for us to seize money roadside, all three of us have to agree, like, yeah, this is illegitimate money.
Okay.
And a lot of times people will, if they know it's dirty money, they just, no, it's not my money. I was paid to transport or whatever it may be. And I think a lot of that becomes, if you have considerable amount of bulk cash and you're not paying taxes on it and those types of things, I think that's where some of that comes into play. But again, they're just mules. That's not their money. That's not theirs. So a lot of times, like, that ain't my money. I was paid to do it.
No shit.
Yeah, it's pretty common with money that they're like, not mine. Not
and
mine.
So, okay, so you open up finally get into that compartment, you get this vacuum sealed stack of cash. That was it? That's what it took for you to get hooked?
Hooked, yeah. I was hooked. And then I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be easy. You know, I'm thinking, and next seizure's like 3 or 4 months down the road. So like, I'm like, well, this is miserable. Like, you know, you have that nice high. You think like, oh, I figured this out. I didn't know anything. You know, like I'm trying to still learn and remember what I saw and all these other things. And then it goes, you know, go 4 or 5 months before the next seizure. I'm like, man, shit, I don't know what the hell I'm doing up here. You have a lot of self-doubt in those situations. And then you get another one, and then it kind of starts to, like, you know, I think over time, as you start to get seizures, bulk seizures, and the gaps in between start to get less and less and less. But man, early in my career, I'm stopping so many cars, going through the whole stop, nothing criminal. And it just, you know, like, it just took an ever evolving thing of understanding human behavior, understanding driving behavior, having these conversations to actually to kind of hone those skills in. But early on, man, it was definitely something that I was like, I wanted to do. And I was like, man, I don't know if I'm cut out for this.
For sure.
Because it's like, you're going 3 and 4 months in between seizures, and you see guys all over the country hitting things every single day. And I'm like, dude, like, why do I suck?
During that that time of learning, let's say the first year, did you ever look back and realize how many people you let go once you started learning behaviors and stuff? Did you ever think back like,
I still think back about it.
oh yeah?
yeah. Like, I mean, it's still like, I'm like, man, I just let that dude go. I don't know. It's like, you just have those moments, and I'm like, but yeah, back then, even going back and watching my interviews, I'm like, man, I was fucking terrible. Like, not that I was never this authoritative figure, but I wasn't like, I wouldn't ask open-ended questions. I'd be very direct, and I'm like, man, like, I could have done so much better. But I guess, I don't know, you just learn.
Part of learning.
Yeah.
What was not your largest, I want to get to the largest, but what was your first big bulk drug interdiction?
So it was about 6 pounds of meth 4 months after that one.
6 pounds of meth?
Mm-hmm.
That's a decent amount.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you find that?
Again, it was this car was out in North Carolina, or driver was out in North Carolina, third-party vehicle, which is very common. Again, he same type of thing, like flew up to Chicago, driving a car back for a friend or something along those lines, doesn't know the owner's name and all this other nonsense. Flew up I think he was the one that flew up that day. I think the other guy from Texas flew up the day before. But all this stuff, like, it was basically, it mirrored my first one. So I'm like, holy shit, this is like everything.
Textbook.
Yeah. So this is like, and that's what it took for me to understand and to even ask for consent early doing interdiction. And I was like, can I search your car? And it was, it was like, it's 3 or 6 pounds of meth in McDonald's bag, just sitting on it was, the fuck was it? It was that Dodge. It was like I think that Magnum. Maybe.
Okay.
It was like, yeah. It was just sitting on like the back seat, just in a McDonald's bag.
3 pounds of meth or 6 pounds of meth?
Yeah, I think it was 3. Now that I'm looking at it, I think it was 3.
Damn. Now, do you have a dog at this time, or are you just doing this yourself?
No. So this was in 20. I think my dog till 2014.
Okay. So what's it? I mean, so now you got a good money bust and a good drug bust. So now you're full into just stopping people. What are you looking for on the road? I mean, you looking at drivers, you're looking at plates, you're looking at cars sagging because their trunks are overloaded. I mean,
no, I mean,
what triggers it?
Maybe back in the day, like the trunk sagging thing. I've never.
That's what you always hear. Right?
Yeah. I think back in the day, guys growing, like, till interdiction evolved, like the cartels just didn't think that they were going to get stopped or even like asked to search their car. So they were throwing 100, 200 kilos in the trunk of a car, and it's driving like this, and no one's thinking anything of it.
The good old days.
Yeah, I need one of those to come by me.
Right.
But that was never a factor of me. A lot of it is just like the driving behavior. Like, you're on the highway, so you're stuck going a decent amount, and then you'll see like people that just do the craziest thing, man. Like, and I'm not. You go 120 miles an hour, slam on your brakes, and then because you're speeding and see me. But if cops don't pull out, like, you're going back to 120 miles an hour again. So it's an entire thing of just watching traffic from, theoretically, your vision goes about a third of the mile on the highway. So I'll sit and just watch cars and watch people do, like, all of a sudden they're, with the flow of traffic. Then all of a sudden they're, they just have this panic attack, and they start to reduce their speed, and then they're creating, like a obstruct or fucking with the flow of traffic. Like, you'll see like the traffic all of a sudden, like, everyone's in a line of traffic, and all of a sudden this gap in the switch lanes, and those, I mean,
just little shit.
Just it is minor things, and until like, because when I first started working in interdiction, I was told like anyone that switches lanes is someone who'd stop. So I'm like, oh, if I can we should find all the drugs, right? So I would go out and stop people, switch lanes, and I would go through my stop, and they're not being deceptive, they're not lying. I'm like, finally, I just got annoyed. I'm like, well, I'm not finding shit. So I just started asking, like, why did you switch lanes? And then they'd be like, oh, I was speeding, and I saw you, and it was more of a courtesy. I switched lanes in case you wanted to, stop me. And I was like, okay, well, you're not hauling contraband. You're not a criminal, so this is not right. And then people started to point out, like, no, not anyone switches lanes. It's kind of like people that are abruptly switching lanes, like jamming the brakes and like weaseling in between cars that are in another lane and things along those lines. And I was like, oh, completely changed my perspective because I'm like, well, I'm stopping like grandma going to church and she's like 5 minutes late. So she's going 7 over. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, oh, I got one. And then I'm going through the whole thing. And I'm like, I suck, And so it's, and once someone points it out, you start to see it and it starts to stand out more and more and more.
Well, how long did it take for you before you thought you were dialed?
I'm still like, because again, you're dealing with a human element. Like they're always changing, always evolving. I mean, you'll have some people that do some very blatant things and then conversations, that stand out like dramatically and all kinds of things. But then you have good ones, and I'm like, did I just let that one go? I mean, I've had people that have called me after I stopped cars and found narcotics and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well then I suck at my job. I'm like,
oh, how's that feel?
It's humbling for sure.
So you stopped somebody before, let them go, then they got caught down the road and they had, damn, what's that like?
It's humbling. Like, like I suck at my job. Thanks for helping me out. Kind of, there's one that I have a great friend now, and I stopped a car. I searched it. And mind you, I'm not a very handyman. Like I don't know how to like fix cars and shit like that. So I'm smelling gas. I'm like, man, this is weird. But my understanding of sending units is under the back seat. So I'm like, I can't find the sending unit, but it's common that people throw dope in and I'm like, man, I keep smelling gas. I searched the whole car. I send it on its way. I wait about 30 minutes. I pull over in the median. I'm like, let me watch what was he saying while I was searching? And he says, please don't find it twice as I'm searching by the gas tank. And I was like, oh shit. Definitely missed that. Yeah. So I pull over and sit in the median. And I'm like, man, his story was a lie. His GPS has one location. He was telling me he was going to some other place. Like he was all over the place. So he gives me consent to search, and he tries to downplay. Sometimes I smoke weed. I have some shake in the car, something along those lines. So I'm searching, and I was like, man, it's still not making sense. I searched for a long time. Smell gas, can't find it. I have myself convinced that he's gonna go pick up and come back. But I pull over to the median. I usually don't do this, and I started watching my camera, and he's like, please don't find it, as I'm near the gas tank. And I was like, motherfucker.
You picked it up on the audio?
Mm-hmm. As he's, yep. Okay. As he's in my car, he's saying, please don't find it, please.
He's in your car,
yes,
confessing to.
Saying, please don't find it, please don't find it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So then I call another state, and they get it stopped, and it ended up being like 5 or 7 kilos of heroin in the gas tank.
No, so you're like, okay, if I smell gas again, I'm going to dig a little bit more into this.
Yeah. It was that was another humbling one. It happens, man. It is what it is. It sucks, but it's not a good feeling. But it's a learning experience for sure.
Oh, I'm sure every day. And that's why I asked, like, what was your point before you found you're in a groove? But as soon as that question came, I'm like, man, you're dealing with humans that are doing everything they can to fool you. Like, you're probably learn a lot, but every day is a new lesson for you.
100%. Yeah.
100. Yeah. There's that. It's the ultimate cat and mouse game.
It is. I mean, and I don't know. I think that's why I'm so addicted to it, and I still love my job, is because, like, dude, every day is a different day, and in my own mind, I'm having some type of impact, I think, so like it's rewarding at that aspect of it too. But yeah, man, I don't know. It is definitely, and being assigned to like a specialty assignment, I think in law enforcement gives you a completely different perspective. You don't have to be like a slave to the radio. You can go out there and like be productive, be proactive, and whatever that mission is that you have in your own mind of what a cop is, you get to live it out instead of being like, oh man, got to go deal with these people that can't go communicate because they're neighbors and they're bitching about the fence or whatever it may be, like I think a lot of cops sign up to go take bad guys to jail, and then they get stuck in this routine of like never having the ability to proactively go find bad guys. And they just get stuck of like, call for service.
I've never thought of it like that.
That's my, and then that's where that frustration and things get built up. And then after 30 years, then you see the guy that loses his mind and he has one lapse of judgment because he is so frustrated. And then that's what he's known for.
I 100% agree with you on that, because because I have a couple of buddies that are highway guys down in Albuquerque and some crazy the corridors, and they are the only I'll be honest, the only cops that I've ever talked to that truly love being a cop are all highway cops. The majority of highway cops love their job because they're like, I'm not tied to calls. I'm out hunting dudes all day. They're like, people on the highways do the most craziest shit you could ever imagine. And so they're like, but I don't do. They have the right. My buddy said they can respond to domestics because
Yeah,
it's within their dirt, but they're strictly highway and they love it.
Yep. And that's what I think it is. I think a lot of people have that idea of that's what law enforcement is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then eventually you can kind of get there as a city cop or a county cop, but you're going to have to put some time in of doing patrol. And patrol is the foundation of all policing. Like you have to have it and put your time in. I mean, and I know like a lot of young guys don't like that concept of putting time in, but I think that you could be the greatest cop in the world, but you have to, in my mind, give back to the job that gave you the opportunity. And we all start here. And fundamentally, like if everything was to say all departments were to lose all their specialties, like we're all getting put back in patrol because that's the foundation. If we don't have the luxury of having these niche and specialty units, like patrol's number one and then everything else is secondary.
Yeah, no shit. What's one of the most random things that you've seen somebody do on the highway? I spend a lot of time on the highways and I see some crazy shit, but I'm sure as a highway cop, you've got some stories.
I mean, it is interesting where, because I would never do this, but like people will pull over and like want to come have a conversation with you for some reason. Like I'll be sitting in the median. So now this dude pulls over or pull up behind me or pull in the median next to me. So I don't know if you're like a good guy, a bad guy. So I'm like drawing my gun and shit. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, and they're just like, and sometimes it's like, oh, there's an accident. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'll, you know, whatever. But sometimes it's just like, there's nothing of importance. And you just want to have, I'm like, what? I guess, man, I appreciate you supporting us, but like, this is probably not the best opportunity to thank me for my service. So that some of that shit's weird to me. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think this is the greatest idea.
Thanks, but get back in your car. I don't need you on the middle of the highway out here.
Yeah, it's weird. Those things are strange to me. When it comes to stopping people, you'll have people that will lie and be deceptive. I've had people lie and do the whole thing because they're going to cheat on their spouse and they don't want to get a ticket and they exhibit every behavior you can think of. And I'm like, there's been a couple where I've searched and I'm like, why are you lying to me? And then they'll tell me and I'm like, I'm not the moral police. Like, go do what you want to do.
Oh shit.
They lie about their trip. They lie about their plans. They lie about everything. And I'm like, I'm not telling your wife. I don't even know who you are. And I'm like, we would have been done about 30 minutes ago if you just told me the truth.
No shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've had a couple of those. I'm like, dude, I'm not the moral police. Go do you. Like, I don't care. But yeah, so those are weird to me. No, those are probably the people lying when they're cheating on their spouse is fucking crazy to me.
That's hilarious. I never thought that was a thing.
Oh, me either. Until I stopped them.
Okay, so you pull somebody over as a highway cop.
Mm-hmm.
You pull me over. What do you want me to do?
What do you mean?
As soon as I exit, I get off the shoulder. What puts you at ease?
It depends. I mean, your demeanor is mainly all I really care about. I don't want you, if you have a backpack on the front seat, necessarily reaching in a backpack. But if you're like, I'm looking through my glove box and stuff like that, I'm probably more lax than most, and knock on wood, it's never, but if you're just doing the normal things, like I know they always say put your hands on the steering wheel and stuff. And in Indiana, we are a very liberal gun state, like everyone has them. So we see a lot of that where they put both their hands and I have a gun in the center console. I'm like, cool, not a big deal. Like, so those make sense. Like if you have a weapon on you, like that's cool. But again, like just do the normal traffic stop stuff. Like, don't like start reaching under your seat and shit like that. Like, oh, if you're going to open a glove box, so be it. Like, I get it. I understand. I'm not going to freak out on you. I know a lot of people are always like 10 and 2, keep your hands there. Whatever you're comfortable with, just be yourself. Don't all of a sudden be all stressed out and anxiety driven. And because I think that's where cops elevate too. You know what I mean? Like if they're feeding off each other's energy.
100%.
And I get it. You're getting stopped, so you're probably fucking frustrated or stressed out because you don't know. But usually me, I'm like, hey, tell you immediately what I stopped you for and that you're not getting a ticket.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, man, as long as your license is good, I'll give you a warning. There's no court. There's no fine. And come on.
Oh, okay. Is that because you're looking for the drug side of things? Are you worried about speeding, or are you just using speeding, lane changing as far as you're in to get them pulled over and ask?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I'm more focusing on the criminal element, but I can't just stop you because I want to stop you. You have to commit some type of infraction.
For sure.
So yeah, like that. That's why I'm not so focused on tickets at all.
Interesting. There's been times where I've been pulled over going pretty significant speeds, like middle of nowhere, just burning through a state, and I'm like on the phone with the wife, get a ticket, 100%. And the cops give them all the info, super cool. I'm like, I'm the kind of guy, I roll all my windows down, everything's ready. Like, I want to get out of there as fast as possible. Right. And so, but dude, I've had cops walk up and I'm like, look at the ID, they walk back around, hey, just slow it down for me. And I'm like, what the fuck? I 100% should have got a ticket. But I'm always super cool. Like, yo, my bad. Like, I'm a speeder, 100%. It does not matter. I don't look at, not in like a negligent way where I'm doing 100 everywhere, but I just, I'm going to drive whatever.
Cars and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's where it comes. If you're in the, I don't know. I've seen a lot of this country, probably not as much as you, but like, if I'm driving in Wyoming, like there's nothing. Like I'm going fast. Like there's nothing for miles. Like I'm going fast.
I got a stretch of 3 hours. The speed limit's 70. I'm doing 90.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna cruise through this.
Yeah,
yeah.
I wonder if they could. I don't know. There's interdiction guys all over the country, and I'm sure you're gonna run across interdiction guys and probably guys that are out there to write tickets too. So you just never know. But
I've run into them both. I'm sure.
For sure. But most of the interdiction guys that I know are very similar to me in demeanor, laid back, like not looking to write tickets. Some interdiction teams have to write tickets at a certain amount. I'm a big compliance person. Like I stop you, I tell you what you did wrong, just don't do it again. I'm good. Like I'm not writing you a ticket. I understand society is, people are not. They don't have an extra $300 to give a ticket, and I don't know. Tickets just aren't my thing, man.
Good for you on that. Because I've watched and listened to cops who are like, our department, if you pulled somebody over, you had to write a ticket. See, and I think that's crap.
And see, I don't know. That's bullshit in my mind. Because if quotas are illegal, so if you're forcing your guys to write tickets, that's I'm guessing that's some type of quota, and that's against the law. And if you do have some type of quota and you're forcing tickets to be written, like in a certain amount of time, like you're gonna have cops writing shitty tickets. Oh, for sure. Nice people, and like, oh, you're going 3 over, so here you go. Like, I mean, it just, I don't know. That goes back to the whole like having a rapport with society. Like that's killing it.
It's your community.
Yeah, and like now you're gonna have that lady who actually loved us jump on a jury, and now she's like, yeah, never mind. Yeah, I
all for 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
No, that never made any sense. And I've lost my license like 2 or 3 times in my motorcycle days, like young and dumb, right? Yeah. Like you name it, I have had I got a ticket for operating a motor vehicle while standing on one foot, like
never even heard of that.
While driving on one wheel. I was doing wheelie. I didn't even, just shit like that, right? Yeah. I used to have a wall of tickets. I remember I went to the DMV one time and I was trying to like get my license back, and the woman pulls up my account and she was like, "Oh God," and I'm like, "What?" And she like turns the screen. And she's like, "This is impressive." And I was like, it was a rough run for a while. So like, that's why I've had so much experience with law enforcement officers and dealing with them. It's just, it cracks me up because you'll deal with some guys and they're like the coolest dude ever. I got caught one time. I didn't get caught. I got pulled over. I was actually racing this cop. Didn't even know it was a cop. We were coming out of this huge canyon, and it's late fall. I have a client with me. We're trying to get back to the hotel. We're hunting in the middle of this state, in the middle of nowhere. I'm just trying to help this guy find a giant deer. And we're coming out of this canyon, no service, and this car comes up on my ass, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to haul ass. He's on my ass, so I'm going to increase the speed. And we're coming out of this canyon, and a second we crest the top, lights me up. I'm like, oh man, like I am so screwed. I got guns in the back. There's shit. I don't have any license plates, and the cop pulls me over, and he's like, "Yeah, I waited till we got service to roll your ass." I figured. Like, so he pulls me, and he's like, "Where are your license plates?" I'm like, "They're in the back seat." And he's like, "Can you grab them for me?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so I open my door, dude, and 2 guns fall, an AR and a rifle, like start falling out. I catch him. He was a super cool dude. He's like, I give him my plates. I'm like, I'm insured, I'm registered. I just don't put plates on my car because fuck y'all, I don't want to. And super cool guy. But after racing him, I was speeding for 15 minutes out of this canyon, guns fall out, no plates. I was just cool with him and bullshit him. He's like, you know what, man, you guys are hunting, like, have fun, like, just slow down. I'm like, Roger that. And so, but it was a cool interaction. And there's times where I've gotten a ticket for doing 4 over. So, and it's just like, well, fuck those guys, like slow down through that area. They're going to get you every time, but that's the reputation. And then back to the quota thing that you kind of mentioned, how they're illegal. Like I have a cop right now, I'm trying to get on the show, I'm bringing him out. He wants to out his chief because they have quotas, but if off of, they get a take home vehicle, they get to pick their shifts. They get a priority bid on shifts that they get to do if they're writing the most tickets. So he's left the department now and he wants to come out all that. I'm like, absolutely. But he was like, dude, it was screwed. He's like, we had to write everybody a ticket just to try to like compete. And he's like, I couldn't do it anymore. But he's like, the department just.
I guess I could see like that being more of like a incentive base or performance standard or something.
Because I think we want to go to quotas as far as the department makes more money.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, it used to be like, from my understanding, like they could put like, oh, you have to write 10 tickets a month. Now it's not. Like they do have maybe like contacts where you have to have 10 proactive contacts, but they can't say you have to write this many tickets.
Yeah.
That is probably more of like an incentive base, where so it comes off as kind of quota-ish, but it's not like, no, you have to write 10 tickets, and if you don't, then we can punish you.
Yeah.
That's completely against the law.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know.
In a country like that.
Oh, yeah.
We'd be Mexico, where you're just bribing cops out of getting out of everything.
It's crazy.
What's the largest drug bust you have been a part of?
Cash or
Both. Start with drugs.
or drugs? I've had a couple around about 100 pounds of mixed meth, fentanyl, coke, all mixed together.
100 pounds?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, right around there. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, something like that.
What's that street value?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. We could do the math. I never really looked at it. It was 48 pounds of meth. I remember that, and it was 8 kilos of coke and like 5 kilos of fentanyl, somewhere around there. So we're looking at 48, 22. Yeah, so right around 100 pounds, something like that.
Holy crap!
That was on a car hauler that was being shipped from Los Angeles to Detroit.
A car hauler?
So
like a tractor trailer with two stacks? How did you pull that over?
This one actually, he was broke down, and then I was like, oh, I'll just go check him out, see what's up with him. And then car haulers are used frequently, and there was a car on there that I liked in general, but I was like, oh, I'll just make sure he's okay. He had help on his way, so I started talking to him, and a lot of those are like paperwork based, where he's not dirty. He just picked up a car, and a lot of the car haulers are pretty good at, because they've been doing this for a long time, and they kind of know. And I'm like, hey, any of these cars, goofy or weird or whatever? And I was like, all these cars have a plate besides that one. He's like, yeah, it's weird. The plate's on the back seat. I was like, okay, that's good. Like, why would you take the plate off and throw it in the back seat if you're just hauling a car across the country? And because he didn't do it, the person that was shipping it did, and gave me consent. And it was a aftermarket compartment between the trunk and the back seat, just loaded.
That easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, so
luckily it was broken down. But
yeah.
Oh, so the car hauler drivers aren't involved. They're just picking up their load.
Yep. And they're pretty cooperative with the ones that I've stopped have always been cooperative with law enforcement.
No shit.
But then every time like, so a hot shot holds like 3 or less cars.
Okay.
And those are pretty commonly used. And
the hot shots are the private ones.
Yeah.
The flatbed, the single flatbed.
Yeah, they can fit maybe 3 at most.
Okay.
Maybe sometimes they're enclosed and they'll have like 2 cars in there or whatever. Every one of those that I've got have all been involved. But the big ones, never once has the driver been involved.
Really? Interesting. I never thought about just shipping your car.
I mean, anything you can distance yourself, like plausible deniability, like, maybe have it fraudulently registered or whatever it may be. You could fraudulently do the paperwork, everything. Like, you pick it up from a gas station in LA and you're dropping off a gas station in Detroit. Like,
I've told this story before that I had 2 Marines working for me at the time. They were 2 of my troops, and they were working for a guy in Oceanside in California. They would get a text message with their flight information. They would get on a flight, fly to JFK, land, go to the air. As soon as they landed, they got a text message of the stall and floor that the car was on. They would go into the car. There would be an envelope of cash for them to drive it from JFK to Oceanside, California. And they didn't look through the car. They said the car would follow them all the way to the New York border, SUV, and it'd peel off as soon as they crossed the border. Jesus. And they would drive 2 of them. They would just all night. They would just bust it out in like 3 days. They would get back to California, roll in the middle of the night, pull in the used car dealership, leave the keys in the car, and they would just go home.
How much were they getting paid?
Enough to keep doing that.
Fair enough.
So they would tell me, they'd be like, yo, Steph, sorry, we got to run. We have a couple days off. I'm like, you guys get caught. I know nothing. And so I never asked any questions as far as once they explained what they were doing. So I just wanted to know they were my guys. And so, but then again, at that stage of my life, I'm like, fuck, go hustle.
I guess maybe more than likely going that way, probably moving money. So depending on the state you get caught in, if you're like, hey, it's not my money, plausible deniability, a lot of times they might open an investigation into you, but they're probably not going to go away in handcuffs.
Yeah, they did it for quite a while, man. They were banking cash, and they both got. It was right before they were getting out, like a year out before they were EASing out of the Marine Corps. And I didn't care. I mean, we were instructors at the time, and so we had a lot of downtime. And don't get caught. I'm like, you rate what you get away with. I'm like, you guys get hammered, it's on you. I ain't saving your asses. So yeah, they would. Hey, we got to leave tonight. I'm like, yeah, we'll see you in a couple of days. And sure as shit, they would go and do that. So it's happening all day, every day.
And again, like that, like the plausible deniability. Like, honestly, like, I don't know, this dude pay me to move this car. I mean, it'd be hard for us to tie them to something. You might know, you know, or even to like what's in the car. Like, you know, you might know that it's fucked up, but like plausible deniability, like, yo, this dude right here, text message, like, you know, if you're up front, like, I don't know, I don't look through it, I'm just driving it, and this is what I'm getting paid.
Yeah,
cool.
And go to jail for a couple days.
Yeah, like how it's gonna be really hard for us to say, like, oh yeah, he knew that he was moving. You might know that it's messed up, but do we know that you know that there's contraband in there?
Yeah,
probably not. It'd be hard. It'd be a hard case. It'd be interesting to see if that went to court.
Yeah,
I'm curious now.
I don't know how if they kept doing it once they got out, but they it was a little side hustle for them. I supported. I was like, well, hey, whatever you got to do to grind it out.
That's awesome.
How much money have you found? What's your largest cachet of cash you found?
Just under $700,000.
Really?
And that one was, I mean, Colombian dude.
Red flag.
No.
Just playing.
No. Well, but so I stopped him early February. It's cold as shit, and it was like a Saturday morning early. I stop him. And the first thing he says to me, as plain as we're talking, is, I can't speak English. I'm like, what? Yes, you can. You just literally said that in English. So I was like, all right, so why is he trying to say that he can't? And then we go through the whole stop. And he basically tells me that he flew from Colombia last night, landed in Chicago, stayed one night, was driving down to Atlanta.
That's weird.
To meet his two friends that have a place there. But he's going to get a hotel, and they're going to come to the hotel. And then he's going to aimlessly drive around Florida, basically is what he tells me. I was like, all right. It's weird, like super strange. Like, why would you not just fly from Columbia to Atlanta if you only like so? Gives me consent to search. And it was just duffel bags in the bed of the truck, not in the bed, in the backseat of the truck.
No, duffel bags.
Just duffel bags. Duffel bags.
Is that a pretty cool feeling?
Yeah,
like when you just start pulling that much cash out.
Oh yeah.
What's the paperwork like?
So we run everything through an independent investigator, so they'll come to the scene and they kind of.
Oh, how nice is that?
Oh, yeah.
You get to bounce pass all that off to them?
Well, I mean, I still have to do my initial report, which, well, it's time consuming. It'll take me a day or so to type it all out and watch the video and upload everything to evidence and stuff. But yeah, like when it comes to like the paperwork on the asset forfeiture side, we use investigators.
Damn, that's nice. What was the rush on that?
That was probably the biggest one. Yeah, I don't know. It was amazing. Like trying to call and like shaking, you know, like, yo, you got to come here because like
we got one.
Yeah,
I need help.
Yeah, for sure.
No kidding, huh?
And I was like, man, I don't like, you know, like we've seen 100, 200, 300,000, but like that one where I was like, dude, it's the most cash I've ever seen. Like I don't even know where to even begin. It's literally the most cash I've ever seen in my life at once, like any time.
For sure. It's a majority of people. You know, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Did you ever walk up to somebody's car and they just had like bundles of dope in the back or anything?
Yeah.
Really?
I show a video in my class where this dude, he kept messing with his shirt, and I heard plastic. I'm like, what's this dude got under his shirt? He's like, why'd you stop me? And I was like, come here, I'll show you. And I have him come out of the car, I show him the license plate bracket, and as he gets out, he just hands me a bag, and it was 1.5 pounds of heroin. I was like, dude, you didn't think of anything? Literally, like the whole stop was 3.5 minutes long.
Just folded that quick, huh?
Yeah, like just handed it to me. I didn't know. I was like, put it in your trunk when you leave. Like leave it on the floorboard when I stop you. Like, nah, I'm just gonna hand it to you. It was, yeah, I don't know. I can't even and he's sweating when he's talking to me. So I knew something was up, but like I still don't understand the rationalization there. I can't fathom like why this is a good idea.
That dude was not a criminal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. I probably stopped some of the worst ones. Like,
yeah, I couldn't imagine in my mind. Like, I got to give this to him. Like, I'm gonna do everything I can to not.
Yeah, like I was floored that it happened. Like, literally, like
I mean, what do you just like hold your hand out and you're like, thanks. And
yeah, it was in a
get
bag,
on the ground.
and I was like, what is this? And he's like, oh, a guy told me. And I was like, well, this is why I stopped you. Just go put your hands behind your back. And I hooked him up. And then, yeah, I was like, I opened it. And I was like, tested it, 1.5 pounds of heroin.
That blows my mind. That somebody
Yeah,
can just hand you their drugs.
Yeah, that's like 20 years in prison. Yeah, like 20 years. Like I'm like, you couldn't think of anything else better to do with this. Yeah.
That's got to be the dumbest.
I told you, like
I can't fathom this.
I don't stop the smartest ones. I mean, that's how they get caught.
Good for you.
Yeah.
God bless. Did you just hand you 20 years in prison like that?
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Are there, okay. You're kind of in a different area. It's weird here because we're right on the border of Oregon. So you have all the weed there.
Mm-hmm.
You got California, you got Washington. So I think cops they don't care as much here.
I think that's pretty much a sentiment across the country. It's kind of.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean,
that was my tying question. I mean, do you care if a dude's got a joint on him? I mean, are you hooking that up? Or are you looking for big buzz?
Huge. Like, I mean, so we have Michigan, that's Illinois, that's both of those are recreational. I think maybe even Ohio is now at this point. But yeah, I mean, I'm not. We have a lot of discretion when it comes to misdemeanor amounts of in my state, it's still misdemeanor to have a gram. Some agencies don't have that discretion. My agency gives us that discretion.
Okay.
So I can't remember the last time that I charged anyone with a misdemeanor amount of marijuana in my life. I mean, it maybe 10 years ago, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. Yeah, it was a considerable long time ago.
Well, you see some of these cops are like writing up guys for like a roach in their car.
Yeah, again,
is that worth the paperwork?
I mean, even though like, like what does society want? That's kind of where I look at it. Like, are you building a rapport with society by doing this? I don't know.
I think that is one of the most missed objectives in law enforcement is working for the community.
Yeah.
And trying to build a rapport in the community. I don't know when it stopped. I mean, you're 20 years in. Maybe you saw a phase or maybe there's never been a phase where we need to get back to policing the community as far as building a rapport. Obviously, it's harder for stadies to, highway guys to be doing that, but your local guys that are in the hoods and I meant neighborhoods, but hood, whatever.
I'm still a local guy. I just got assigned to a special detail,
Okay.
But yeah, like, I mean, I think that building that rapport doesn't necessarily like going out there and playing with kids on playgrounds and stuff. They know that we have a job they have to do. But I mean, like building rapport with being understanding and empathetic, like more than half this country is
struggling.
It's struggling financially. And also is probably supporting some type of either medical or recreational marijuana. So like at that point, like, I don't know. I mean, if you have some dude that is going and buying and bagging it up and it looks like the selling aspect of it, like, okay, maybe, but I mean, like selling on the black market, because we do have a lot of violence with the black market weed by us. And I think on a national average, a lot of that black market, and the reason is not organizations have structure when they start to get into other products, I feel like.
Okay.
But now there's so much marijuana out there that there's not a lot of structure, and you have a lot of like beef over this little bit of money in rougher areas, so then it turns into violence. So I don't know how to combat that and make it work, but I think as society, like, I don't know, we'll see where the weed game goes. I just think that we have to be like reflective and like, look, society is saying that they want this to be okay, even if my state says it's illegal, but we do have this discretion.
For sure.
Now, if I catch you 40 times with weed, I'm like, dude, like either like come on, man, like I've gave you this many breaks. Like at some point, I'm gonna have to do my job here. Like
for sure,
either be like more respectful to me and like not drive around with it or whatever it may be. I don't know. There's got to be a give and take at some point.
Absolutely, I'm with you on that one. What's it as being a cop for 20 years? How many years have you been a cop? 19. Okay, so 19-year law enforcement officer. What is one thing that you wish civilians knew what goes on inside a cop's day-to-day life?
I wish that, I don't know, that's a hard question, but I think I wish society knew the amount of addiction and mental health issues that are within society that you have no clue. I think that, and I think they might even go hand in hand, and this might, like, I don't know, I'm not like a...
I agree.
Like, so I don't know how to separate them, but I mean, it is, I would say the majority of our calls are related somewhere around that, like drug addiction or mental health. And our hands are tied if it's the mental health aspect of it. Like we we can't do much. If you're not hurting yourself or saying you're going to hurt someone else, like we're out of the picture. Like we can't do anything. If you're an adult, like hands are just tied. Like we can't force you to go. Like, hey, like you need help. Like, no, I don't. Okay. Keep eating crayons or whatever you're doing. Like, like you're not hurting yourself. You say you're going to hurt yourself and you're not hurting anyone else. Nothing we can do. And it's sad, but that's where like.
You're still a human at the end of the day watching this. I mean, you take the badge off, you have empathy, you have feelings, and unless you're just a rotten person that finds humor in that, I feel like that'd be really hard, especially these cops in these cities that just deal with the.
Yeah.
It's sad, man. It's so sad that. I mean, I've mentioned it before, man. I saw a video and the person's foot was missing, and then there's just bone, and where the meat shrunk his rotten back, and there's like this much bone on this homeless dude's leg, and the sores, and I'm just like, this is the greatest America. This is the greatest country. We have people living like this. Nobody can help them. And as law enforcement, like you said, if they're not trying to hurt themselves or hurt somebody else and voicing it or physically acting it out, good luck.
Yeah, I don't know. That's where it gets frustrating. And I think for whatever reason, cops have fallen down or have been like, I don't know, like the dad to society. Like any problem that is taking place, even if it's not a cop problem, we're still dealing with it. And I don't think that was ever the design for law enforcement. It was never like we're going to come because you can't get along with your neighbor. We weren't going to, I don't know. Those types of things I think have burden and held back the profession because we're just dealing with like things that the cop was never designed to do. We weren't designed to do that. We were designed to go find bad people.
But now you're dealing with a Karen calling on kids on e-bikes.
And we were also now like the mental health people. Like, well, why didn't the fire department get those calls? Why can't they go take those calls?
That is a great question.
Like
actually.
They should be handling that, not us, right? I don't know.
I've never thought that. Why doesn't the fire? But what's the fire department going to do with it? What's an EMT?
Yeah, I guess they have more. EMT probably has more capabilities than cops, I would guess.
Take him to the hospital.
Maybe, he could be like, no, like that leg incident. Like, no, like he needs to go to the hospital because if not, like whatever maybe. Like I'm going to force him because I'm a medical professional, and I say like, if you don't get this fixed, you're going to die. I look at it, I'm like, that's terrible. Like I don't know, but I can't do anything. I can't make you go. Or maybe an EMT could because he's a medical professional. I don't know.
It's got to be really hard. And then people don't realize that you're dealing with that. That weighs on you as a human. Even though you have a badge on and a uniform, you're still seeing this. You're dealing with it on the day-to-day. And then people want to immediately point the negatives at cops. But it's, man, look what these men and women are dealing with. Yep. The lows of somebody's life every day. That's why I give so much credit. I'm not the biggest fan of cops. My personal experiences, I support them. Let me rephrase that. I support law enforcement. It's the establishments and the higher ups in a lot of these departments that I think are ruining it as far as politics and not letting cops actually police.
Let's talk about that too in a minute.
Yeah. And so that's where I, as a civilian, look at it. And it's not the grunts on the ground. It's not your guy sitting in a car that's maliciously going and trying to do this. I feel a lot of it comes from the higher ups because they are politically promoted and they put into these situations, and then they're the yes sirs, and they're doing what's coming from the top down, and then you guys are shit out at the bottom of this funnel, which are taking all the heat, and that's where all the images are coming from, all the marketing side of these cops on the streets. And they're just, I mean, you look at these guys that are dealing with these anti-ICE agents and dealing with Antifa and this protest, and they're just sitting there just getting shit thrown on them and bricks and Molotov cocktails at their feet. And they're just standing there. It's like, bro, like who would want to do that? And it's not them. They're just right. Told that's their job. That's what they're being paid to do. And it sucks, man. It's hard to watch because it's not your cop. But then again, at the same time, then you take all that you're dealing with as a law enforcement officer, seeing what's happening from the higher ups, putting you guys in shitty situation. That's going to wear on anybody over time.
Yeah. And I think I have faith in society that the majority of the people that are out there bashing cops, it's more the establishment. It's not
for sure.
It's that
sure.
They're
that's why
mad at they're mad at someone up here, but we're just the face of it because Absolutely. That's who they see every day. And it's not necessarily cops in general and things along those lines. I think that there's a lot of anti-government sentiment across the country, and for whatever reason, we just get the brunt of it.
Absolutely. 100%. Do you want to jump into the establishment side of it? I know that kind of triggered something on you real quick.
So because a lot of people always talk about like, oh, the chief and the admin. My first 6 years, I had 6 different chiefs. My 5th chief, but see, again, I'm so new. I didn't see it. Like I didn't. All of them were super pro, like encouraging proactivity. Like never did we see the stuff that was taking place upstairs.
Yep.
And I think that if you have a core of the middle management, like your sergeants, your lieutenants, your corporals, like those, if they stay true to themselves and what they're supposed to do, it doesn't matter what the admin does. It doesn't. My 5th chief, he had a vote of no confidence being in the position for 8 months, a unanimous across the entire department besides him and the assistant chief. He was voted out, never came back to the police department.
Holy crap.
So like if you have that good core middle management, it doesn't matter because that's who's guiding that ship. And if they're good and they support what the police department is doing, the chief just kind of steers that ship. But everyone else in the back is pushing that bitch. So like that admin, we can't keep saying the admin. Okay. It's that core middle management. If they're buying into the bullshit or if they got in that position to eventually like be a politician, whatever it may be, that's where the problems start to set in. But if you have a good like, oh, we're promoting the right people because they're proactive and they're encouraging their guys and girls to go out there and do the job. And then all of a sudden you get a shitty chief that's flipped and all of a sudden doing like, oh, we're going to do this and that and this and that. And there's a bunch of pushback. I never heard about the pushback, but I knew that my chief upstairs he literally had like an invisible girlfriend. He had a fake picture of a girl he lost his mind. Like it was the weirdest thing. I don't know if college football, Manti Te'o had like that.
Yeah.
Same time frame. My chief at the time decided to like pull this picture of this, like he was like probably in his 50s. She was like a smoking hot 22-year-old that he was never in photos, but he had these in his office and this was a girlfriend and then she died from cancer. Complete whack job, completely lost his mind. So we as patrol saw that. I didn't know there was I learned recently that there was a lot of where he was trying to screw guys in that sergeant area and do kinds of weird things. And that's why they started pushing back. But we as patrol, we saw that he's an invisible girlfriend. Like, what the fuck? Like, how are you leading us? And you can't even, I don't know. It was super strange. But yeah.
This dude had a catfish girlfriend.
I think he made up the catfish girlfriend. I don't think that, I think he's like, oh, well, this guy got away with his invisible girlfriend. I'm going to do the same thing. And then towards the end of his tenure there, she got cancer. Because we never saw her. He was never in photographs with her. Like, weird shit.
Enough for a department voted him out?
Unanimously. In an open vote in front of the mayor. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to vote him out. No, we all stood there and said, yeah,
you erased her.
Yeah,
all in favor. Go.
Yeah.
No kidding, that bad. I mean, there's got to be more than just the picture thing then, right?
No, yeah, that was part of it. But yeah, like he was, I didn't know this at the time. I mean, he was sending out emails all the time about like doing dumb shit. And, but he was trying to like screw over like our sergeants and stuff when the sergeants had the respect of the guys. So you can't keep pushing down on them and say like what you're going to do to them and punish them in an open forum and then think that there's not going to be a revolt from the 50 guys that work underneath them.
I feel that was probably a very rare case though, just in talking to law enforcement over the years. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the sergeant level where you're talking about if they just stay true to the core, it 100% makes sense to me. It's the same thing in the military. Like as a sergeant, a senior sergeant, or a young staff NCO that I eventually made to, all the shit would come down, and I'd be like, yeah, we got it. And I'd be like, dude, fuck that thing, guys ain't doing shit. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Close the vehicles up, get out of here. I got you. But the team next to me, that sergeant or new staff NCO, he's like, absolutely, yeah. Then they become the yes men, and like look at how often that's happening in these departments because they want that next promotion. So I feel a lot of those guys give in. They lose who they were as a trooper at that one point because they're getting close to promotion, because they're rubbing elbows with the admin, and that's where they lose it. But if a department, you're clearly saying that your department stuck together, had good sergeants that buffered between you and the admin, that's how it should be. For everything, military, any air quoting establishments that have that much ranking, there has to be a buffer, but that's the problem. That buffer slowly gets chiseled away because guys now want to get promoted. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. You've heard it a million times.
But as a core, like, that's
100%.
I'm guessing maybe at a bigger agency, I could see that. You know what I'm saying? But like for us, we only have 3 lieutenants or 4 lieutenants, 5 lieutenants, and In patrol, we have four. We have 4 crews. Those, I mean, they kind of raise in the ranks together, so they build that camaraderie, and they, you know what I'm saying? They're not, they have a good relationship with each other.
Yeah.
So I think that they stick together a little bit better, maybe.
I'm sure that helps a lot.
Yeah.
And what a great atmosphere too, especially if there is a buffer, you guys trust your sergeants or your senior staff, then you're willing to do a lot more. You're going to put more time, passion.
Yeah.
You're enjoying your job more.
Yep. 100%. So that I hear it. I mean, you changed my perspective a little bit just saying that, but yeah, like I always hear like the chief and, you know, like that's the problem. And I'm like, man, like we had the problem, and our middle management and everyone pretty much was like, no, you're the true problem. We're getting you the hell out of here.
For sure.
And it, I don't know. It continues to stay that way though. Like we have a great chief now, so I don't want to say anything bad, but like our middle management, if he like started doing dumb shit, it would definitely go back. And I still think to this day that we would have a vote of no confidence for sure. I think it can happen. It just kind of depends on how good of a core you have in that leadership role.
I'm sure that helps a lot. Or doesn't. I mean, you're going to get outed really quick. And a really common thing that I see in the law enforcement world, it's that 5-year mark where a lot of cops, that's talking to, because a lot of people, I always talk to cops, not even just on this podcast, like with our charity that we just recently retired from. We had a program where we helped out law enforcement officers all over the country getting free training in carbine and pistols. So I had some of the best instructors, JJ Racaza, some of the incredible guys around the country that trained officers. They would travel too, but we covered all the expenses and all that stuff to make sure departments were getting the proper training. It was just kind of a little side thing we did. So I dealt with thousands and thousands of cops and talking to them and all that stuff. And in their applications, and every time that we started seeing a pattern, it was right at that 5-year mark where guys either started to get sour. Then that's where I feel when you start setting in and you're like, okay, is this going to be a career for me? And how happy am I? And that's the pivotal moment in, I feel, a lot of guys' careers. They're either they're gonna love it or hate it. They're gonna start becoming that disgruntled turd cop, or they have found their groove and like, okay, this is who I am. This is how I'm going to operate. They got their group going, or they get out, or they don't, and they're stuck. It's the same thing in the military. You get these guys that are miserable and they're 15, 20 years in. It's like, dude, how do you hate your life this much? Oh, it's my career.
No, I agree there. And I feel like that 5-year mark, you start to get, like, I got lucky enough to get on the part-time interdiction team or something like that, where you find like your niche, your specialty. And I'm a huge believer in the ability to have that specialty, or you start to get promoted within patrol. And now you have this ability to be like, okay, I know how to do the job, but now my role is to train the next generation. And you just, that 5-year mark, if you're just answering calls nonstop, you're going to get frustrated because it doesn't change.
Nothing.
People might change. Calls for service don't change. And that's where like you have to start to either like try to do other things or try to move up in rank. Or I was assigned to we have a part-time SWAT team and multi-agency SWAT team for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I got that about the 5-year mark too, and that gave me a break from just answering calls for service. So like just doing something different that gives you a purpose at that 5-year mark within the profession, I think will get you away from going the negative route.
Oh, for sure. That's where in my military career, 4 years, got back, I was re-enlisting, right? And I got an opportunity to get out of my MOS and leave my job for 2 years. It's only supposed to be like a year, actually 2.5 years. And it changed my whole entire perspective on the Marine Corps. I was like, oh, dude, this is great. I got away from my battalion, away from my job. I was traveling the world. I represented the most decorated division in the Marine Corps. Cool. Got to travel all over the place. So I was like, damn, this is the Marine Corps. Then my last, 2.5 years in, a year and a half in, I ended up going back and being an instructor, and it just killed me. I went right back to it. And I was like, oh, this is horrible. I had a re-enlistment package that I pulled. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I went right back to it right at my end. And I tasted it again, and I was like, oh yeah, this isn't for me. And that was a big decision why I got out. But I had that break at that 4 to 5 year mark. I was like, reset me. And I was cruising. I didn't have to report it. I wasn't dealing with the bullshit, everything that the day-to-day for my job that I was dealing with. Right. I was like, holy shit, you guys just go to lunch whenever you want. like I could just sit here in an AC'd office all day. This is great. This is not all military experience is the same. So I realized, I'm like, okay, cool. Like this is something that I can bounce around and do some other things. And then I got, that time was up and they set me straight back. And I was like, Oh, oh yeah, yeah.
You can't stay in there any more than 2 years. It's a 2-year assignment. That's it, and then none.
It was, yeah. Unfortunately, it was actually supposed to be. It's an 18-month gig, but during that time, the First Marine Division General and Sergeant Major, they got asked to stay on longer because Afghan was kicking off, and so I was there. I was the First Marine Division Color Sergeant, so I traveled and just marched the colors, the Marine Corps flag everywhere. I'd go to Guadalcanal. I traveled all over the world doing it. It was incredible. And then they stayed on, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to stay on and keep representing you who represent the division. You're staying as long as we're here." And I was like, "Oh, sweet, this is great." So I got to extend another rotation to it. So I got to cruise. I sat in a secured vault all day. It was like my normal job, looking at guys that were either being wounded or blown up. And so it was, dude, I've sat in an AC secured giant vault. Every now and then I'd go do a ceremony. Somebody would retire. I'd march out there, dip the colors. And it was the greatest thing. And all my boys are just rotting away. And I'm like, like, life's great, dude. Like, we just do whatever we want. There's days I don't even go to work. And then that time was up and I went back to my job and I was just immediately reminded of why I hated it in the first place. And yeah, I ended up pulling my re-enlistment package. I'm like, you know what? If I got to stay here, I'm out. And that was right at that time.
I think with cops too, if we had the ability to have like a pension after 5 years or 10 years or something like that, where you could get a partial pension.
Yeah.
I think it'd be great for law enforcement, but you're stuck for about 20 years before you get a pension. And I think guys get stuck in that. Like, they might hate it the last 15 years, but like, well, I'm 5 years in, so I may be miserable. But like, if we gave them an avenue, like, oh, cool, you served for 5 years. Cool. Here's 25% of your pension.
Yep.
Have a good life. I think guys would be like, sweet, peace.
Even like, I think it's screwed up that cops don't get a VA, like how the military does, right?
Yeah.
I know thousands of military service members that have never deployed that are 100% disabled. Cool. Good job, dude. Great. Like, you got it. But I guarantee you've done 1,000 times more scary situations, beating your body up, training, everything you have than some guy that's been paper pushing for 8 years, gets out, and now he's 100% disabled. On top of that, I think if you serve 4 to 8 years in the military, you should 100%. That should be part, and this goes for law enforcement and first responders. There should be a VA style rating, like a disability. If you do a certain amount of time, it's 100%. Cool. That would incentivize. So imagine the quality of humans that, okay, dude, I got to do 8 years as a cop and I get $4,000 for the rest of my life, tax free. Then look at how many people would be going. Then the selection process starts dialing in. Actually, we're going to take 50 of these candidates instead of the 500 we have. You could be more selective. You're getting better people in the military. You got to do 4 years, 8 years. You get 100% disability and you're out. That's your thank you for serving your country, military or law enforcement. That's where a lot of guys, these military guys that put themselves on such a pedestal. It's like, dude, I know cops that have been in their whole career. The dudes in Oakland and East LA and shit. I mean, fuck that. I'd go to Iraq all day. I'd go back to Afghan before I'm driving the streets of Oakland at night, every single night, dealing with that shit, or Detroit.
You know who the enemy is over there, right? Like, I guess maybe
sometimes. But that's how my mind works. And I'm like, man, these cops are like, you guys get nothing. You're cool. You served your community for 4 to 5 years. And that's why it's like the budget thing. I never understand the budget thing. It's just, they just print money for everybody else. Why are we not printing money? And this goes back to the whole defund the police. It's a rabbit hole. It's like, you want to defund the police. If we funded them till they had all the training, they have every bit of quarterly training by de-escalation, First Amendment auditors, then you could hold cops to a much higher standard. Yep. There's no excuse. If we funded the police, then it takes away the excuse because, oh, well, our department, man, we have enough to send one instructor to this course. He learns it and then brings back his knowledge. Or, hey, yeah, we send one guy a quarter to this annual training. It's like, what the you're supposed to be policing our communities and we don't even have money, but hey.
I think if we double, like this is, I mean, if I had the magic wand, you double law enforcement. So whatever we have, we double it. 1 month you do nothing but training. 1 month you're in the job. So you just alternate. Like, I think that right there is going to alleviate all of these problems. I don't know about all, but a lot of them. And then having the ability to leave 5-10 years in and get something for that. I think then you're getting guys out that before they get to that 15 years of just being pissed off after doing 20 years.
Absolutely.
I don't know. And I think we'll get better candidates. I think you get someone that's 21. Hey, I just want to do this for a little bit. I want to get back to my community. at 26, I'm dipping, and you know, like I know what my responsibility is. All right, cool. Like, yep, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. Maybe you love it, but at minimum, you're gonna do 5 years and you're leaving, and you'll get something for that.
Yeah, just as a thank you for serving your community and country. I mean, it's funny how veterans are country. We're serving our country, but cops are community. But in reality, it's the same. There's no different. That's why I can never put veterans above law enforcement on any pedestal. We sign a dotted line to go overseas. Like, you guys are in the trenches and we get to come home and we get to walk away from it. I do my deployments. I come home, we decompress, don't decompress, whatever it may be. But cool, that was 6, 8 months, 18 months, 24 months the guys got overseas. And granted, there's dudes that are in the military that I know that have like 13, 15 deployments. Those are very rare, I feel, the career operators. But the majority of people, one, have never deployed. I think less than 1% actually even see combat in the whole military. So it's very small, but we get to come home from it. You are putting that uniform on every single day, getting in that patrol, running that beat for a whole entire career. It's just Groundhog's Day for you. When we get to come back, we get to decompress. You're back for a certain amount of time. I mean, now look at it now. With Iran, who knows? But yeah, I give law enforcement, especially just the grunts in these cars every day, so much credit. And I think we need to give our law enforcement so much more, because that's why it's hard to defend sometimes. Like, well, these guys just don't know. Like, you're coming screaming at some kid that's a First Amendment auditor. Like, how do we not know this is an amendment? We have amendments built to protect this, and we're in 2026 and you're an asshole. That's where it's like, okay, get this dude training. Then that way, when he does that, hey, you should know better. Now you're held accountable. Instead, we're frying cops for stuff they don't even know. They've been trained on.
If there's a First Amendment audit out there that would put on a class with respect and understanding for law enforcement, I think he would be a multimillionaire.
Oh.
Hey, this is what I can do, and this is why I can do it. I'll show you the videos of me doing it, and this is how you don't get jammed up into some type of civil suit.
Because that's their main goal. At the end of the day, they're making a full living.
Yeah, some of them, 100%. I think some of them,
they're making a living off monetizing it.
Yeah, you're right.
And then they're getting these 70 grand here, 800,000 here. You see these little lawsuits, and it's just hurting the city because the guy, I'm like, God, stop. Mm-hmm. I'm watching these videos, like, just the way they get out, their whole body, and they're already peaked because they got called from the bank, and the guy's like, I'm trespassing. He's like, I've never stepped foot on the property. It doesn't matter. Give me your ID. It's like, he's never stepped foot on the property. How are you trespassing somebody that's never stepped on a property? And how are we doing this in 2026? Like, that's the game. But these departments are so understaffed. They got old dinosaur chiefs and lieutenants that have been out of the game, and it's just, they're setting their guys up for failure.
When I was on the highway, I had this one dude that would always drive by me. He drove a green Nissan Honda Civic, and he would drive by me about 4 times a day and just flip me off. I was like, you have nothing better to do? Like, I would watch him. He would just drive by and flip me off. And he would yell out with his window up, seeing things. I'm like, what? Like, sometimes I would just pull next to him and laugh and then just drive away.
You never pulled him over?
Not once. I'm like, he was never doing anything wrong besides flip me off.
All right, that's valid.
I was just like I don't know. I have stopped people that are videotaping me from the get-go. And I tell this to everyone. I mean, it's just my philosophy. No one wants to be YouTube famous. No cop wants to be.
No.
And I'm like, I just tell them, like, hey, man, like, if you see that that's the pushback and that's what they're doing, I'm like, hey, this is what you're doing wrong. You're putting yourself and other people at risk, and just correct this driving behavior. Walk back, get in your car, and drive away. No one's watching that shit. Like, us feeding into them, that causes all this.
Views, clips.
Yeah. Like, no one's going to watch that 30-second clip where I'm like, hey, you're driving like a jerk. You're putting yourself and other people at risk. Stop doing that. And I walk back and drive away before you can even pull off. Like, who's paying attention to that? No one.
Then you're just feeding the fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so as a sergeant that you got almost 20 years in the force, where do you see a lot of young cops making mistakes?
3 to 4 years ago, there was a lot of cops that didn't have the ability to communicate effectively.
Interesting.
And I don't know what it is, but recently we've seen a change, and I can only accredit this, and I think maybe, and this might be wrong, but like the TikTok era of cops, where they're maybe not communicating with people, but they're watching people communicate. We went from an Instagram still, Facebook still, to a video, and I don't know, maybe that's it. I don't know, because social media is so big. That's the only thing that I can contribute it to. But their ability to communicate is grown, but maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I think that was the biggest downfall. Like, just to understand, having real life experience, and being able to communicate effectively. And it doesn't necessarily even mean like you understand what's going on, but at least having enough like common sense to talk your way through a situation.
Okay.
Either in or out of it. I feel like cops can talk themselves into fights or out of fights pretty effectively.
Which is a skill.
Yeah. And I just feel like the more recent cops that I've been seeing have that ability, and maybe 4 or 5 years ago, not so much.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If you, what is nobody telling these new young cops that are coming in that you wish that they could all just be told? I guess my question would be with you're salty, bro. You got 20 years in the force. It's a pretty salty dude. You've been on the street. You've millions of dollars in apprehending drugs and money. If there was a message to the young cops coming in, what would that be?
Whatever the internal motivation that you have that drove you to be a law enforcement officer, just keep that. Because no matter what, my motivation was to find narcotics, and that was my motivation. Maybe I can have a positive impact on one kid. Like, he doesn't have to go through a childhood like that. That's always been my motivation, my internal motivation. And no matter what anyone tells you or gets up there, preaches, blah, 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 all that other nonsense, like, you're going to hear it. But if you don't keep that internal motivation, what got me to put my application in, that will drive you through your career. You don't need outside sources telling you, like, do this or this is how we do it or whatever it may be. Just stay true to who you are and what your motivation was, I think would be, I don't know, the best advice for me, for them maybe. I mean, it was for me. That truly still is. Like, that's my true motivation.
Good. So when you were doing drug, narcotic, or interdiction teams, did you guys ever cross any organized crime? Any?
Yeah, I mean, the guy from Colombia. It's always going to cross. When you start getting into where like your kilo level or more, you're starting to get into. It might be fringe organization based stuff, but there was a young white dude that I got that was moving money from Buffalo back to Oregon, and his grandfather was tied to the mob, which I thought the mob was dead, but yeah, so there's still organized crime out there on a regular basis and I think seeing that kind of money, I think a lot of organized crime gravitates to like the drug area. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if during the investigations when you pop any of these drivers, if they're ratting people out, which are leading to bigger things, which I'm sure happens. So I wasn't sure if you had any lead, build in any of that lead to you from you guys capturing any of these people.
I have no idea. What a lot of the people that you catch with higher stuff seem to be willing to cooperate a lot more. Some of them don't have good information, and then some of them are. I mean, if you're going to trust a dude with $700,000, he's probably done a lot of work for you, is my assumption. And then the other one, like family ties and stuff like that. But as far as like the cooperation, once they start to cooperate, I don't even care to know. I kind of just remove myself from the investigation, let them run with it. If they get something amazing, they'll let me know. But usually it's just kind of
on to the next. That's just your job. You're just snatching and passing.
Yeah, it's like fishing, and I don't have to like gut it and clean it. It's on them. Like I just catch it and then off to the next one.
That's what a sweet gig.
It's pretty sweet.
Okay, so all these years on the highway, have you ever had people run?
Yeah, occasionally. I've had three people get out of the car and run.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. And then probably about one a year of pursuits. But I think as time evolves, you start to target the right cars. I mean, you'd be amazed at how many people 70 plus that we stopped that are trafficking. The oldest one was like 76, 79. And the youngest was 17 in age, yeah. So like, I don't see grandmas running, but having the right target of who you're trying to look for prevents those types of pursuits and those types of things.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about a police chase.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. What's a good police? I love hearing. Okay. Well, hold on. First, the people that run, when you pull somebody and they just get out of their car and bail, what's the first thing that goes through your mind as a cop?
For me, it depends. Highway, I'm like, there's something in this car that's more important than them. For me, typically.
Oh, you just let them run?
On the highway, yeah. Where I'm working.
Where are you going to go?
That's my point. Like, and if you're from a couple states away, like, what are you going to do?
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I almost feel like it's almost like they want me to chase, then they're going to double back and come in the car on the highway. So I just I'll stay with the car, and then I'll be like, hey, like, call someone else, like, hey, this dude just ran. City's a little more sketchy. Like you have no idea. I think it's a complete crapshoot of why they're running, and plus on the highway, like you can run. You don't have like things that you can really hide and duck behind, but you run in through cities. You're cutting through alleys, cutting around houses, and
you can make a turn and he's standing right there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the safety aspect on a foot pursuit in a city is definitely I think it's a lot easier for people to get away in the city because
for sure.
Yeah, we have to be cautious. The pine corners and all kinds of not just running blindly around. But yeah, on the highways, if they run and I'm by myself, I'm letting them run.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You're just like, fuck.
Kind of.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're like, you're on the speaker, like, don't run. Like you're good.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going to. Like, you're going to run to that random farmhouse. Like, he probably hasn't seen anyone outside his family in the past 3 years. Like, you're going to go knock on that dude's door? Best of luck. Like, honestly, like.
Yeah, because you guys are kind of in, rural,
yeah.
farmland just on the sides of the highway. That's hilarious. I never thought about that, but that makes, when those people ran, did they usually have stuff in their cars?
Every single one of them. 3 for 3.
Okay, that makes sense. You're like, all right, yeah, I know this game. No shit. That's interesting. I never thought that you would just, it makes sense where you're just like, all right, yeah, good luck.
The first one that ran, it was like February, and it was, it was single digits for sure. I was like, this is a terrible decision.
You're like, immediately no.
Yeah, I'm not. No, definitely not. Terrible. Terrible for you, man.
Didn't think that one through. Is there ever a police chase or an involvement that you guys got into a shootout or anything?
I've never had to fire my gun.
I feel like that's probably pretty fortunate for a cop, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's been friends that are close to me that have been involved in one. And I was just thinking about my buddy got shot like 2 weeks ago.
You had a buddy get shot 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, he works the high.
Okay?
Yeah, I think he'll be all right. He just got transferred on Friday. Wait, what's it? Saturday? Yeah, he just got transferred on Friday. So he's an interdiction guy. I've known him for a long time, and he got shot 3 times, but the worst one got shot and it went down his vertebrae. It didn't pierce his spine. Miraculously got lodged in his vertebrae in the bone. So when you just asked about shooting, that just brought up that memory, or that just because it's so current. But he just got transferred to the best spinal cord rehabilitation in the country. And this is you see a lot of officer involved shootings that that are negative, and I've not seen any negative comments. And I think I'll tell you the story. He stopped to help a disabled vehicle, and the dude broke down, whatever it may be. And then he's like, "Hey, I'll take you to the hotel or whatever." Take him to the hotel. He's like, "The dude is off." I went and saw him. He's talking. He's okay. The cop is anyways, but hopefully the walking and everything will come back. But he's like, he just didn't seem right. And I thought he was having a mental issue or something. So he's like, "Hey man, you want me to take you to the hospital? You're just not looking right." He's like, "Yeah, can you take me to the hospital? I'm not feeling well." Takes him to the hospital, leaves, and as he's leaving, someone says, "Hey, that car was just reported stolen," or something to that effect. So he goes back in the hospital. Mind you, just spent about 20, 30 minutes with this dude, no issues. And as he's walking up to him, I guess he had a gun hidden somewhere. He had a bunch of clothes on, 3 or 4 hoodies, 3 or 4 pants, so somewhere on him. And as he's walking up, they get in a scuffle. And some point, shots fire. I don't know where he got. I think he got shot in his left shoulder first, and he's left-handed. And he was off duty. So he was appendix carrying, and then he sees. So basically now his strong arm's done, and the guy was pointing at a nurse or some shit like that. So he was wrestling him and turns the gun towards himself, gets shot in the leg, and then the last one hit him here.
Damn.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole, but yeah,
you're good.
So yeah, he lost feeling from the nipples down, but
oh no.
But again, that could just be the swelling. They're hoping.
Okay.
They're hoping. Then he went to the best spinal cord. This facility, there was a professional bike rider or something that broke his back, and they had him racing within a short period of time after that. He healed up and continued to be a professional mountain bike rider or some shit like that. So he's at the right place, and I think he's going to be all right because it didn't pierce anything spinal cord wise. It just they think it's a lot of the inflammation and swelling that's causing the numbness. Hopefully. But yeah, so it happens. And that was the closest one to me where an officer got shot. And what was cool is I mean, we're close, but like he's 2 counties from me, and his wife hit me up and he said, "Hey man, he's been talking about you. It'd be cool if you could stop up here." So I got to surprise him, and
okay,
and then
cool.
That was more. It probably helped him a little bit, but it really helped me because I'm just like, I'm sitting in the highway over analyzing everything, thinking like, because we do the same job, and it was just like an act of kindness, and this guy's, yeah.
So he was an off-duty cop, just trying to help a good Samaritan.
He was going to like some in-house training, and yeah, he was just on his way. I don't know where it was, maybe like the department or whatever it may be, and this dude was broken down kind of in the roadway, yeah, and just literally like tried to help him out, and then an act of kindness turned into
him being shot.
Yeah, fight for his life.
And this just happened?
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. It's like really recent.
We'll put something out. I'll get all the info if anybody wants to help support this guy.
Okay, awesome.
We'll make sure we put that in on your episode and everything too. I'm sure he's got a GoFundMe and everything. So
yeah, there's a nonprofit that set something up in Indiana too that handles like
cool.
So like the GoFundMe takes a percentage or whatever it may be. This does not take anything.
I would rather have that. Yeah.
Okay.
So if we get a direct link we could do, so these companies aren't taken off the top. So we'll put that on there. Man, that's
awesome. Man, appreciate it,
dude.
Oh yeah, he's such a good dude. Such a nice, like, I don't know, such a nice, good kid. Like in general, you know what I mean. So then like, I don't know. It just bothered me. Act of kindness turned into that shit.
It's unfortunate. We can't let it.
Yeah, I know.
Can't let that, stop. I'm one of those, dude. I try to help everybody I can, and you never, some people need it and some are just evil, want to hurt.
Yeah, makes no sense to me.
What's the most dangerous call you've ever been on?
So, most dangerous call. I think this one would probably be up there with me. For whatever reason, we had a bunch of calls for service. I just got on the SWAT team, just went through all the training and stuff, and I was at the gym. And they were like pretty much all of our guys besides 2 that were working were going to assist another agency in arresting this dude on a homicide warrant that was pinned down somewhere. Knew that he was, and they had like violent tendencies, and he's been on the run. So everyone was helping this. I leave the gym and call for service of a girl I used to work with at my previous employer, and she was having issues with a dude, and the dude had moved to Kentucky. She had a protection order, very violent, and it was about 30 minutes before school got out. So I hear the call for service. I realize that everyone's like busy as shit. So me, the sergeant, and another guy, I throw my plate carry on and just my rifle, and I'm like, neighbor says, "Hey, like, dude just came in that house."
Oh.
And I was like, well, I know her. I have a relationship, like a friend relationship with her. Like, I'm friendly with her and I know what she's going through. And this guy's a dick. And the kid's getting ready to come home. And I was like, well, like, we can't just let this call. So I show up and I help them clear the whole house. And I remember we're clearing the whole house, and it's only 3 of us. Big house, 2 stories in a basement. So every room we're going in, 2 going in, sergeant stand at the door, then we're clearing back out, like very systematically. So he knows we're in the house the whole time. And
so this guy's listening to you clearly.
We're assuming. Eventually we find him in the basement, and we make our way all the way down the basement. It's old house, crickety stairs, all that nonsense. It was almost like a cellar, but that's what their laundry room was.
Yep.
So we go through, and as soon as I walk in the basement, like there's a pile of clothes right dead center of the room, but the washer and dryer are kind of over there. I'm like, it's fucking weird. So we kind of, we clear the room, and then I motion to my buddy. I'm like, and I just jam my rifle in there. And we just hear him scream. So go shit. So then we get him in custody, and like,
wait, what are you thinking when you stick this dude in a pile of clothes?
Well, okay. Well, I was like, he has to be somewhere, right? And it was enough that I was like, I don't know. I was just like, well, I want to make sure that he's not under the clothes. I didn't really think he was going to be there. Like,
Did you jam it pretty hard?
Oh yeah, it was not soft.
It wasn't
no. Yeah. I made my presence known, definitely. So
with that old butt stroke to the
no, it was stupid. It was the front of the rifle.
Yeah, we're not expecting him to be there.
Yeah, it's just more like, all right, if it goes to the ground, we're good. But then he like screams. We get him in custody. He had a gun on him, and then what was the scariest part to me? He had a bullet in his 5th pocket. So my assumption is that he was going to wait till mom gets home and do whatever the hell he had to do, and then maybe kill himself, and that's why he kept that last one in there. I don't know, but we got him in custody, and he ended up going to prison for a long time. Thank God.
Oh, so the neighbors
The
saw
neighbor-
the dude go
Yes,
into
yes.
the house and the mom wasn't even home.
No one was home.
So this guy was like a stalker,
Yeah,
ex
stalker
or something.
Yep, 1%. And came from Kentucky because he was living in Kentucky. Like,
Oh shit, that's scary.
yeah,
He was just laying and waiting for the mom to get home.
yeah. Well, the kid was and the
Or
kid
the
was
kid.
going to be home. Yeah, maybe both. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Damn, dude.
he was a whack job. He was definitely a nutty guy where he had violent tendencies and probably the potential to do what if that's what he was going to do. But to have the bullet just in your fifth pocket, like you were thinking, like maybe he was going to do something to her and the kid, and then shoot it out with us and be like, "Fuck it, I'm just off
Save one
myself."
for himself.
Yeah, 1%.
Holy shit.
That was one of the ones where and mind you, I'm in like gym shorts, fucking gym t-shirts. I'm sweaty as shit. Just the rifle plates carrier, and a rifle. Like not prepared for much. But I don't know. I was literally driving right by. I was like, dude, I'll help you guys.
Damn, that could have turned ugly real quick.
Yeah, I think we'd have been all right though. He would have been in bad shape.
Oh, for sure.
Hopefully.
Right? All worked out.
Yeah.
Damn, man. What's the best part about being a cop?
Those things right there.
Yeah.
No, they're taken on the highway. I've stopped 2 different traffic stops. One dude was wanted for homicide, which was pretty awesome to get him off the street out of Georgia. And then I had stopped these 2 dudes that weren't wanted at the time, and we got them with literally like 2 pounds of weed and a gun. And come to find out that night, there was like a be on the lookout for these 2 dudes where they had just been in a shootout, killed 2 people. They had an accomplice with them that ended up getting killed, and a 12-year-old was like shot in the leg in the neighboring house. And we just got him on a traffic stop. At the time, we just thought it was 2 pounds of weed and a gun. And then 24 hours later, we find out that what the hell they really just did.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It's so crazy how everybody says, "Oh, the world's it's such a big world out there," but to be able to connect, to get those guys on a traffic stop, and then that evening they put out what would you guys call it, a bolo or something?
Bolo,
so, damn, dude, and you already had them.
Mm-hmm. And my agency is kind of like, we don't get a lot of good jobs. They kind of bust balls. So this was early. It was like 2014. So I was early in starting Interdiction. And like anytime I got a seizure, people would always just talk shit, like bust balls, like, oh, 2 pounds of weed, like finding El Chapo and shit. So I had left and I went back and came back in the morning, and the sergeant was there, and he's like, good job yesterday. I'm just waiting for like to talk shit. And I was like, when are you going to talk shit, basically?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you really don't know. And then he told me the whole story. So like it was that was a rewarding morning. Yeah, it was definitely rewarding.
What's a misconception? I mean, because we talked about it a little bit earlier of the addiction and the mental health side of things. What is one thing that civilians you don't think that just they understand about addiction?
They think that addiction is something that is voluntary. And I think a lot of addiction is not necessarily. It's probably starts out as either some type of coping mechanism for something traumatic that has happened to you, maybe a coping mechanism because you don't know what's wrong with you because you have some mental illness, or maybe because you're prescribed prescription pills and then you got cut off. I would bet most of our addictions, if we were able to solve those 3, most of those addiction things would be gone. I think a lot of the drug problem would be gone. How do you solve that? I have no clue, but I think that's probably the main 3 things of how people start going down that addiction route.
Oh shit.
I don't think it's a lot of times people are like, I just want to go shoot heroin. I don't think that comes through their mind. Like I don't think that's like probably when, even if they start, I guess, sampling in narcotics or whatever it may be. Like I don't think that's where they think they're going to end up.
Never do. Before you know it,
Mm-hmm.
years later, lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're just struggling to stay alive.
Yeah.
What's something that keeps you up at night as a cop?
That we're going to lose the ability to be proactive and take bad guys to jail because of either A, we're not attracting the right people in the profession, or B, the politicians are going to tie our hands so much that it's going to be 100% a reactive thing where we might as well just sit at a station all day and wait for calls for service. And I think
that's the end of police at that point.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, in a grand scheme of things, that's going to be the end of society. If every criminal knows that they can do whatever they want, and we're not going to be able to do anything to stop it, and they're going to just go do it, and then they get a call for service, and we investigate a crime, what's going to stop them? There's no fear of it. They're just, society's going to be fucked.
Look at these cities that they allow these people to steal up to like $1,000 at a CVS, and now Starbucks is pulled from all these cities, and they're shutting down all the Rite Aids and the CVSs and these pharmacies because these people just walk in, grab a handful of stuff, and they can't even stop them, and the cops are just watching them.
Yeah,
it's what's the point? That pretty much in our law enforcement, do you feel would become almost glorified security guards?
At best. I mean, it would be like literally a reactive investigative agency. Like you wouldn't even need to have guns theoretically. Like, okay, yeah, cool. We'll go investigate this crime. We'll show up after the fact. They've already committed a crime, whatever it may be. And then we'll investigate it. And then maybe we'd have a U.S. Marshal, like people that went and arrested people or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. That scares the shit out of me.
Do you see it headed that way slowly?
I don't know. I think the pendulum swings. So if you would have asked me, 6 years ago, 5 years ago,
George Floyd era.
Yeah, I think I would have bet my money if we would have stayed on that track. That's where we would be at right now. But I think I have faith in society that we have enough common sense that we realize like this is not where we need to be and this is not where we need to go. So then it swings back. But
I think the media is such a huge enemy for you guys because it never paints the good picture of all the good that law enforcement are doing. It's just complete negative on everything. It's the same with military and law enforcement. It's sad because, that we talked about it briefly. I went down that tangent of the whole defund thing, and it's the stupidest shit to me. Even if I was 100% against law enforcement and hated cops and they're the last thing I would ever want to do is take funding away because then it just gets worse.
I agree. It literally makes no sense. And the whole like social worker aspect of it, and you're going to like, why are you going to add another element that's a citizen element that doesn't carry a badge and gun to a potential violent situation? So not like I understand that it's needed and I understand that, but like it's not needed simultaneously. If it's needed after the fact, once the situation is like calmed down. If we have violent people that need mental health or whatever it may be, I don't know. The logic behind some of the things that are said and done is just, I don't know where it comes from. It's not very logical.
Yeah. As a civilian, I see these things and I see what the news is pushing and I just sit and watch and I just think to myself, why? What good? This is our knee-jerk reaction.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. Like like cops and law, like every year we get case laws that's updated what we can and can't do. So
for sure.
I feel like cops are always evolving. We're always learning. We're like, oh, we can't do this anymore because of this new case law, whatever it may be. But for whatever reason, like instead of letting that process play it out, we have these huge knee-jerk reactions. The logic's not, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
Mm-mm. What's one of the dumbest laws that you have to enforce as a cop?
There's not a lot of that we shall. So like there's laws that we have to enforce that are like felonies that we shall, but a lot of like the misdemeanors and infractions, there's not ones that are like there's some that we don't have to. You know what I mean? It's not like discretionary. I don't know.
I guess the question, I'll reword the question for you. What is a law? I don't want to make this sound like you're not enforcing law, but what is? Okay, I'll just ask it. What is a law that you have no problem looking the other way at as a cop when someone's breaking it?
I don't know. A law. I'm pretty. I don't know if there's a specific one, but I'm pretty laid back when it comes to that whole discretion thing. But I'm trying to think like a specific.
Okay, so what's something in a discretion that you would never write somebody a ticket for? I guess that's my question. In all the laws, in everything that you are required to do as a cop, in your discretion, what is something that you refuse to do? Write somebody a ticket for?
Refuse? There's many tickets I don't, but like as long as you're not doing something that's going to hurt someone else, like as whatever it may be, as an infraction to write a ticket for, like if you're just not wearing a seatbelt in your car by yourself, like I'm probably not going to write you a ticket for that. Like it's not, you're not putting anyone else in danger. So that's kind of where I look at it. Like I feel like, I don't know, if you're not going to harm someone else by what you're doing, why would I interfere with you doing that?
I agree.
Okay.
That's why when cops give you lecture, you're like, bro, why are you talking to me about this? As soon as you get in your car, I'm going back to 90 again on this road. Like, that's where I've always, when the cops like try to lecture you over something, you're like, yeah, dude, if I'm a grown ass man, if I don't want to wear a seatbelt, I'm not wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, I could still stop you for it,
sure.
but I'm probably not going to write you a ticket for it.
For sure.
But like, hey, you might want to put that on. But I'm a huge just compliance.
Yeah.
Even if you appease me and then I drive away and you take it right back off. Like, oh, well, okay, so be it.
I have a question for you. I turned my wife on to this and it's blown her mind ever since. How often do you see little kids not in car seats or buckled in the back of cars?
Or let's go properly yeah, a lot. Because you see like even like car seats, and I don't even have kids, but you can tell like kids bouncing around the car seats moving with them. So I'm like, what the, like.
Was that something that you'll pull people over for?
Yeah, because again, they're putting someone else. Like if you could do whatever you want, but like this little guy, this little girl's, if you get an accident, that's your, I don't know. Yeah. So I'll stop you and be like, yo, that's like, I'll help you figure this out. If you can't figure it out, I'm not probably gonna write you a ticket for it, but like, let's like make sure that they are secure.
And I asked that question because I'm on the road. I mean, I live on the road for years, and and it's just one of the, I don't know if it's my dad instincts or what, but I spot it so much. And I turned my wife on to, I'm like, watch, I mentioned none of these kids are in cars, car seats or buckled. And now that I've showed her how common it is, she's just like, look, they're not even buckled. I'm like, yeah. It's like every day I see people they'll just be little kids standing in the window as you drive by. Yeah. You're on the highway like, bro, we're doing 85 and this 3-year-old standing in the window. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying, especially on the highway. See, you see them like, I'm guessing like the parents are like the kids crying or whatever. They're like, okay, we'll just take them out. But I'm like, dude, like,
no,
I understand your frustration, like as a parent, but like, man, like you could be the best driver in the world. And a lot of times it's not even you that I'm worried about. Like, I mean, someone else could just hit you and then your kid is spinning around in the back of the van or whatever.
Funny you say that. Actually, this was years ago. My wife and I, a 350Z, ran a stoplight, minivan hits it, flips, rolls, baby comes out in a car seat. We're the first ones on the scene. We watched this whole thing unfold. It was gnarly. I mean,
baby okay?
Not even a scratch on the baby. There was a toddler, had a huge piece of glass buried in his face. So I pick him up, hand him to the wife. I'm like, do not let him touch that. The dad, his hand came out when it rolled. It went under, or the hood, it was under the roof, but when it flipped over, so his hand was under, so it literally degloved his hand, and he had, I could see his skull. So got him, but yeah, that was the same thing. The baby was just, and crazy thing is, like 2 months later, my wife's at the grocery store, and this woman comes up, she's like, you were in the car that helped us, and everybody was fine. They ended up removing the piece. That was a rough one for my wife because she's never been involved in active trauma like that. So she held her own. I mean, dude, she was a stud. And then afterwards she got in the car, I was like, like that baby and that. Yeah. But she held her. She was very calm and collective through it all. And I'm trying to turn a kid and put pressure, grabbing random people, hold this here. And it was a shit show. But yeah, the kid just come rolling out in the car seat, went tumbling down the road. And I was the whole time, I'm like, please don't be a baby. And sure as shit, roll it over, and the baby is staring at me. I'm like, oh my God. Like, what do you, like, yeah, I need help. Like, who else is here? I'm trying to put this mass casualty together in an intersection. And yeah, that was a gnarly one. But
that's another thing. Like, I mean, we talk about like the huge traumatic things, like violent type things, but like just seeing that as a cop on a daily basis or first responder, like, I don't know how many dead people I've seen in car accidents like that. I don't know. I hate seeing dead people. So like now
it's never easy.
Yeah. Like no matter what, even naturals, like, I don't know, I would always compare him to Mr. Burns to have some like coping mechanism from The Simpsons in my head. Like, oh, okay, that's just Mr. Burns dead. Like I've always had, like, and I never had that issue before. Like I like family members have passed or whatever. Maybe it never bothered me until I became a cop. And then I'm like, I fucking hate seeing dead people. Hate it.
How do you process it then?
I don't know. Like
20 years of seeing dead people.
Yeah. I don't know. Dude, it's just crazy. I don't know. Dead people. I would go to anything else besides even like a natural death. I'll be like, call for service. I'll take anything else.
But how do you handle suicide calls?
Oh, they suck. Yeah, they're terrible. And not. I mean, it's terrible that the person's passed, but I think it's more terrible seeing people that are hurt because of that. And I think that's where that's where for me, like, it's more traumatic seeing them, like, this
Kids
person
finding their parents.
or parents finding their kids. Yeah, that's
just heard a case the other day. A 13-year-old girl just took her life.
yeah. We had one a few years ago. It was a 13-year-old boy.
13. What is going on in that child's life?
I don't know.
And then here you are pulling up on the scene. You're dealing with the parents, having to cut them down or pick them up or zip them up, whatever. That's why I ask some of these questions, because your average American does not realize what you guys are dealing with on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
Sucks. And then in 20 years later, I mean, how do you cope with that?
Yeah.
That's why I'm putting cops on just a little bit more of a higher pedestal, because than military. 20 years of seeing bodies, cool. I got a couple deployments. I mean, how many people even see dead bodies on their deployments or deal with it? And then here you are. You could just be having the greatest day of your life, and then now you can roll up on a car scene and someone's decapitated. That was the first dead body I ever seen, was a decapitated person in a car. I was working for a gas station. We had the only tow truck in town. My boss was like, "You want to go see this accident?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll help." Nobody tells me. I get out. I go walking over to the car, and a woman decapitated in her car. And I was like, traumatized as a kid, like 15, 16 years old, working at a full service gas station. Yeah, that was the first thing I walked up on, and nobody told me about it. I was like, holy shit.
That was not that bad, but yeah, like there was a accident. The first accident that I went on my own. The sergeant calls me there, and I'm like, okay, I don't know why you're calling me here, but cool. And it was because he wanted to show me a dead body where the dude, tow truck, flatbed, driver didn't stop in it, like about here, just gone. Like, I don't know. That was the first one I saw. I was like, dude, that. I think ever since then I was like, this sucks.
Yeah. Especially when life leaves a body and you can look into the face and the eyes of it, it's a very feeling. I don't. That's why. I mean, well, how do you cope with it then? How do you deal with it?
I'll tell a story. About 5 years on, I got in a pursuit with a kid that I've dealt with a few times. He's a knucklehead. I think he was 18 years old at the time, but I dealt with him a few years prior as a juvenile. Never arrested him. Just, he was smoking weed and doing dumb shit and try to guide a little bit. But I had got a new car, and it was an unmarked car. Go pull him over, and I walk up on the passenger side, shine my light, and he takes off. And he just went straight, and then he ended up hitting a tree. By the time I got in my car, I couldn't even see him. He went, I think it was like a 1.27 miles or something like that, and hit a tree. And I ran up on the passenger side of him, and he was gone, like just gone, and had passed away. And a month prior to that, I had lost my sister. So, like, my sister was okay. This literally a month to the day after the fact, and everything goes down. And his mom, for whatever, somehow his mom shows up, and I just remember
his mom showed up on the scene.
And she was crying and shit, and I was like, gosh. And I wasn't allowed to talk to her, and it was something that still bothers me to today. But, anyways,
why?
Because. Again, like, I just lost my sister. I have my stepmom. I know what she went through. I know, like 30 days ago. Like, and that's who I saw. I saw like my stepmom, and I couldn't console her. As weird as that sounds, probably to everyone, but whatever. But
not at all. We
go through it all, and a week, I don't know, a few weeks later or something, maybe even a week, maybe not even. I go to my boss. I'm like, hey man, like, this is really bothering me. I just lost my sister, and I lost this, and basically, he said, "Who cares about him? He's not a good person or whatever, maybe." And I was like, that doesn't really work for me.
Still a person.
Yeah. So, thank God I have a really good friend that is a clinician, and after that, I hit him up whenever I need it, and I'm like, hey man, like, I know you can't see me as a person, like, we're friends, conflict of interest. Can I just talk to you? And if you think that I need to see someone, just tell me. I respect you enough. I'll be like, cool, I'll go see someone. So that's what I did. I do. Good friend, just call him like, hey, just need to talk. Just need to get out of my mind. And then ever since then, like, I'm cool talking to anyone about it, about anything. And that's my way of dealing with it. If I talk about it, I don't think about it. If I think about it, I just keep reliving it. And I'm reliving it in my own, like, echo chamber of negativity.
Do you start adding on every time you rethink? Is it something that you start digging deeper into things, or is it the same thought over and over again?
Yeah. Both. I think
start to escalate.
Yeah.
situations?
I think I start to escalate in the fact of like, if I didn't do this, he would be here. If I didn't do this or what, and not
Living
that I
all the different scenarios.
not that I couldn't have. I couldn't even, like, I forget what it was. It was so fast though, and I couldn't even call out like the pursuit. Basically, it was like boom, boom, because he just went straight as fast as he could, and then didn't make a turn. It was like a T intersection, and so it's not like the only thing that I would relieve is, man, I just wish I wouldn't have stopped that dude that night, like like that type of thing.
That one lived with you for a while.
Yeah, for a while, but until I was able to talk about it.
Okay,
It still lives with me. Like, I still think about it. I can literally play it through everything that took place.
See, that's something you got to live with now.
Mm-hmm.
Could you go to your department for that and talk? And the reason I ask that is because a lot of guys feel the second they go to the department, there's a target put on their back, because then you're in the records for struggling. And then if there's any incident down the road, they immediately will use that against you. And I have talked to a lot of cops, and they feel, and I get every department's different, but a lot of guys bury it because the second they're labeled a problem with anything, then their departments immediately put them under a magnifying glass. And so a lot of guys just bury this shit.
So I would say when I went to him, I like I try to, because they always say they just go blah, blah, blah. And that was the response I got, which wasn't the greatest thing.
Yeah.
But I would say now, the past 3 years, my department has hired a clinician that you have to go see.
Okay.
You have to go see them on duty for 1 hour. It's mandatory.
Oh, that's good.
So you have to go. And you can sit there and say nothing. You sit there for an hour then. But what that has done is it has opened the door for you to go and have the ability and have a relationship. And it's free as many times as you want to go. So if you want to go every single day, you can go.
I've never heard of departments doing that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
good for you.
Yeah,
or good for this department.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, yeah, I can't say anything negative about them. I mean, things evolve, and back in the day, like that's how it was. Like, we didn't know any better. We didn't know we didn't know. So like, yeah, don't worry about it. He's not a good person. Okay, cool. Like, but that didn't work for me. But I'm just saying, like, that was a mindset 15 years ago.
100%.
So
it's a mindset today with a lot
which is scary, because I mean,
he's just a drug addict. Don't worry about him. That's another piece of shit off the streets. I've heard cops say that.
That's spot.
It's like, dude, that's someone's son.
That's where,
someone's dad. Yeah, he's a drug addict, but his life choices clearly have led him down to this path. Like, we shouldn't celebrate when I'm using air quotes, some turd gets taken out on it in his own accord. Like, it's still a human being. It's still someone's mom, daughter, whatever it may be, and you see it firsthand.
Yeah,
being a cop and watching decline of people in your community due to drugs or mental health, and it's the last. No, we don't got to deal with them anymore.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
it's got to be tough.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting soft or whatever. Maybe I don't know.
It's maturing for sure.
Yeah,
you look at me 20 years ago and 15 years ago. I would have 100% been that. Yeah, well, fuck, we don't got to deal with them anymore.
But I was always pretty empathetic and understanding. I think maybe it's the way that I was brought up, kind of with dealing with it on a first-hand basis, like first-person basis, and understanding where the family's coming from. Anyways, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, like that is a, like, yeah, it's a drug addict, but it's also like maybe it's your mom, and then I can have relatabilities, I guess.
For sure.
So then it kind of made me a little more empathetic, and I was more patient in those situations than some. Just to sit and have a conversation and be like, yo, it's like, I get it, I understand, and this is why I understand. And you start to tell people, like who you are outside of that, and have some relatabilities. You would be amazed at how much more open they are with you. And I'm not even talking about like getting confessions of crimes or anything like that. Just like being more of a person, having more of that personal thing and empathetic, and laying your own personal shit out there. People will be more willing to have that conversation, and I think it even helps them on their end.
That's policing. I feel that's in my like, to be able to. I'm not saying you need to share all your personal detail with people you're pulling over, but to be able to relate to somebody where, dude, I have buddies that are cops. The cops in my house. I had a buddy shows up the other day. They're looking for a missing kid in there, but all my neighbors are like, "You guys okay?" Because my boy's always here in a squad car, so everybody thinks like something's going on in this nosy ass neighborhood. And I'm like, it's just a friend, But it's that it's him being able to show up, and where just being there, you know, being able to have that relationship and, you know, have that to me is police work, is where you're able to put aside, hey, okay, back to what I was going to say is when you ever see a cop, there's an immediate shield put up, right?
Yes.
You're not dealing with cops on the best day of your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And so the fact when a cop walks up to your car, comes to your front door, whatever it may be, that it's that energy. It's, hey man, hey, this is where we're at. And I get the escalations, and some people just do not want to deal with you at all. But like, look how much goes into just having a conversation and what people are willing to do when they're just heard. That's another big thing. People just want to be heard for a second. They might be my wife and this girl, whatever they're going on, along with whatever's going on in this cop's life that day or that week of zipping up some kid or whatever, getting a shootout, listening to a buddy get shot. Then you got whatever's going on in this civilian's life.
And that's why I think as a cop, like you just have to be willing. I don't know. That robotic cop that's the one that is always that tension. I feel
worst.
Like, like if you can just, you walk up and de-escalate by just saying, hey, what's up, man? This is why I stopped you. And like, the fuck you just called me, man? Or, you know, hey, what's up, bro? Like literally, like that's, if it's someone my age or younger, that's how I talk to them. And I mean, knock on wood, no one complains about it. You know what I'm saying? So if you're just able to be like somewhat relatable, I think that it goes a long way. And it doesn't even have to be in the traumatic. Just, I don't know, talk normal. Like, don't be a robot, for fuck's sake.
It's not that hard. Okay, I ask every law enforcement and first responder this. Did you ever have a frequent flyer that you dealt with?
Yeah. There's a few.
Who's your most favorite frequent flyer?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a favorite. But I'll tell
who's your most memorable frequent flyer? Because every cop has one.
Yeah, there's this crazy guy, and he always thought he worked with the FBI, and he would like come to the police, and he would always just before even we had like wireless earbuds or whatever, he would always have earbuds in, but they would have the cord and it would be connected to nothing. And he's just walking around talking to himself, I guess. I don't know. But I didn't know this. And when I was in my like field training, they're like, hey, go talk to that dude. Like,
set you up.
This is my first, like, I'm handling it on my own. So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So, set me up in the lobby. And I'm like taking notes. And then I'm just looking around like, this dude is mine. Like, what are we talking about?
2 hours later.
And I look back and like all the clerks and my trainers just bawling, like laughing their ass off, like crying on the ground. I'm like, you guys are such dicks. But like, so that was my introduction to him. And yeah, he was, he was always around. You would just see him just wandering the streets, just
dealing with him.
Because he always thought he was the FBI, and he was like telling us like secrets and things like that. Like, I don't know, his mind was gone. But not a bad guy, just not there at all in the head. And like, sometimes maybe it's the best way to be that way.
Yeah,
just think like, this is how life is.
Just enough to be a little crazy, but to be able to function in life.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel that's that happy medium where you just don't. You're crazy enough to not care about what anybody thinks, but not crazy enough that you could still function and not end up in jail.
He ended up ending up in jail.
Did he?
Yeah, he ended up like threatening the president or something stupid.
Oh God, Facebook post or something.
Yeah, he went off the deep end on something like that. But that's what he'd always say. Like, he was always the FBI or CIA or some shit like that. And you know, we had to do this to help him, so you know this wouldn't happen. It's just the crazy stuff.
But you know what's crazy is you take a guy like that, and now knowing like what our government does to these people in the testing and all that, because you see some of these crazy people in New York City, and they're spilling. I mean, there's guys that have been preaching about Israel being the devil for 15 years in New York City, and now it's like, where did he come from? So you take a guy like that, and it's like, I wonder. That's just where my mind goes with stuff sometimes. Like, I wonder if he was actually FBI or CIA, and they just had their time with them and. They do the old Men in Black kink, you know, and scramble these dudes' brains, but there's just enough in there where they're crazy now, but nobody like, yeah, buddy, you're the FBI, huh? But he probably really was some CIA operative and did some crazy shit, and they just scrambled his brain and put him out on the streets one day, and then that's
he was a super intelligent dude. He like owned his own like computer business, and like really intelligent guy. I never thought of it.
See, start digging.
You're like, he like built computers. Yep, 100%. He and was just completely off his rocker. We think, I guess.
Yeah,
Your analogy.
He's probably tied in, like watching the dark web, and he's just telling you guys, you're like, yeah, okay, Fred, okay, buddy. He's like, there's gonna be a terror attack, and you're like, okay. Yeah. Okay. You look back at it now, you're like, shit, maybe what he was telling me was right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's part of it. If you don't mind, you mentioned you lost your sister. Is that something you would talk about?
Yeah. Yeah.
I lost my brother. So yeah, actually yesterday was his June 5th, 808 is when my brother lost his life. So he's lost the battle to cancer. So I can share that with you as well. So I'm not sure if that's something you'd be.
Yeah. So my sister, so this is my stepsister, but we grew up together. Our parents met through our friendship. Like my stepmom was her mom, and so then they met because we were friends in like middle school. And that's how my dad and her mom got together.
Oh, okay.
So I've known her forever. But
that's a sister.
Yeah, that's a sister for sure. So she was big into fitness competitions. She was getting into her first fitness competition. So she was like cutting weight like crazy. And I didn't know this at the time, but that side of the family has some heart problems, like aortic dissection or something like that. So she was pushing her body to the max. I mean, she was ripped out of her mind. And she goes on stage to do like a it's a pre-walkthrough or whatever before the actual like fitness competition, which is the next day. And, yeah, she's up on stage and her heart basically just exploded and she died instantly. Come to find out about maybe a couple weeks prior, she was having some stomach pain. And her fiance was a doctor, like a general practitioner, and he's like, I think your gallbladder needs to be removed. So they removed her gallbladder. Come full circle. If you have pain in there, sometimes it's related to your heart. And so it might have been a small tear and we missed it, or they missed it. And then, when she was up there like flexing and stuff, she's done. But in the grand scheme of things, she probably didn't feel any pain because I guess when that happens, it's basically like it just explodes in like
seconds.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm sorry to hear that, man. What year was that?
2013.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. I remember. I'll never forget. Like I was working. My grandpa never called me. He called me when I was working, but never like repeatedly. So if it didn't answer, he'd be like, "Okay, cool." Like couldn't answer, whatever. He called me like 3 or 4 times, and I was literally on a traffic stop, and I answered, and he's like, "Marie died." I was like, "I'm busy right now. I can't talk." I was like, he's like, "Marie died." So I'm in the middle of a traffic stop. I'm like, shit. So I went up and told the dude, I was like, my sister just died. Have a good day. Walk back. And he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. So the empathy aspect of it, it goes both ways in those situations.
For sure.
I'll never forget that he, he probably had like 1 million kilos or something, but it is what it is. At that point, I was like, I don't know. I remember driving because where I live at and where I work at, I travel about 45 minutes or an hour to work. And I just remember like completely ghosted, like driving, like not.
Oh, for sure.
Not like nothing was clear, like nothing at all.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, dude.
Yeah. Appreciate it. I mean, it's been a while. I mean, but
yeah,
still sucks.
She
was like, you ask anyone, she was like everyone's best friend, happy, go lucky, love life. Yeah, smoked a bunch of weed. Was a dental hygienist. Love Dave Matthews Band, like
Dave, yeah, all right.
Yeah, that's so. She's like, I mean, just the friendliest, life of the party, everyone brighten up the room, and I contribute that to like the reason that she was who she was, and is because for whatever reason she knew that her life was going to be short, so she gave it all day, every day. Everyone had the brightness. So I think I can think of, because I mean, you don't know anyone that would say a bad word about her.
Yeah. Damn, that's gnarly. Just on stage like that.
Mm-hmm.
The fitness world is a very fascinating world. It's the most unhealthiest industry, I feel. I mean, which is ironic,
Yeah, I mean, when she was getting ripped, she was drinking like water, like so much water, but then she was only eating like, I don't even know, like egg whites and protein, like that was her diet for like that last month, and like I'm like,
it puts a lot of strain on you.
Oh, dude, I can only imagine. I mean, physically she looked great, but she started to get that like sunken face and stuff, where it's like, I don't know, doesn't look healthy, even though like you're ripped out of your mind.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was just a goal of hers, like I don't think she was going to do it for a long time. It was just going to be like, maybe a one and done and move on, but she just wanted to prove it to herself that she could do it.
Man, you never know. That's why you got to live life to the fullest. You know, when it's going to be your last day.
Yep.
So what are you doing now for the department?
Same thing. I'm still up there working. I'm on my second dog.
Oh, let's talk canine real quick.
Okay, cool.
Transition into that.
Yeah.
So you said yours is what are you? You don't have a bite dog? Is it more of a drug?
Yeah.
Okay. So how is that? I love watching working dogs. It's the most, when it's a good dog.
Yeah.
It's a world of difference for a good canine working dog.
Well, that's why I said like the watch the progress. I think that's why being a canine handler is so rewarding, because you know, I don't have kids, so like, but I'm training this dog to do it, you know, like to be a functional canine, and you see like where they start and like progression. So like, I don't know, I imagine it's like raising a child and like watching the progression, you know. So but like it's so rewarding, because then you're like, you just see the evolution. You're like, man, we've tried to do this 5,000 times and you can't figure it out, and all of a sudden they do it on their own. Like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
So my first dog was a Dutch Shepherd, Mojo, great dog. Early in his career, he had some heart problems, so he was on heart meds, and then we eventually retired him, and now I have the biggest lab that you'll ever see in your life. He's like 85 pounds of just jacked muscle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's just a big knucklehead, though. Like, great at finding drugs, like no common sense. like I'd be like, hey, there's drugs behind that wall, and you can go around this way. He'll be like, no, I'm just gonna go over that, and then or through that. Like, I'm just gonna go shortest route to get to it.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I love it, and also being away from the department and going and, you know, doing my own thing on the highway, having canine training once a week brings me back. So I still have that rapport with the guys and girls at the agency. So that's cool, because we train once a week with the dogs. And so I kind of, man, I've had a very great career. Like I've had, and
I love hearing this, because I get a lot of negative on the show, you know, which is I want to give guys opportunities to out corruption and, you know, getting shit on through departments. But it's also nice having a different perspective of law enforcement, because I don't want people just listening and be like, yeah, fuck being a cop, because that's where my mind is. Like, you couldn't pay me enough money in the world to be a cop. But hearing these stories, it's nice, because it's good to know that there are still departments that care, working hard for their guys.
Yeah, I mean, and our department tries to, you know, we're small, 70-man department, so we're a smaller department. So a lot of the things that we do have, like we have guys that are part-time on the marshals, part-time on the SWAT team, part-time narcs. So you get a lot of ability to do things outside the scope of just your normal job.
That's cool.
And if you excel at that, like, you might be afforded the opportunity to do it full-time. That's kind of how they, you know, like okay, cool, yeah, like that's how I was able to get up there full-time. Just having some luck and going up there. So I don't know. It's been great. A lot of one of the lieutenants pulled me aside the other day that I respect a lot, and he's like, if I had to do it all over again, he's like, you have had the best job ever in law enforcement. He's like, you get to put a uniform on, you get to go find bad guys, and then, you know, you don't have to be a slave to the radio. And I was like, I never looked at it like that. And coming from him, who's well respected within it, and it meant a lot.
That's good. That's what I mean. Good for you. What's it like when your dog hits on a car for the? What goes through your mind? You know you got a suspect, or the car's and you pull your dog out of your car and you walk up and it hits. What goes through your head?
It's rewarding to watch the dog alert. Like, I mean, so I'm happy for him, but it's also like if there's other cops around, we weren't on body cam, we'd probably be high fiving and stuff, to be honest with you, before we even search. Yeah, it's a good feeling, you know, like, because again, winning at that mental game, I wasn't wrong, the dog's not wrong, you know what I'm saying? So like, maybe I could be wrong, misreading human behavior, and you just deny me consent for whatever reason. But if the dog alerts, I'm like, I knew I was right.
Okay. I worked with a cop in Afghanistan. He was left the cop. He was the East Coast. He actually was he did a lot of drug trafficking stuff, and he was involved in it. And we were sitting one night, and he was telling me the ultimate plan to smuggle drugs across country. And so he was breaking it all down. This guy, I actually wish I'm going to look in my old Facebook message. I got to get this guy on. He was a cop, actually got approached by the cartel.
Damn.
and he was working for the cartel as he was still a cop, but he told the department.
Oh, okay.
So this is a crazy story. He was a full-time cop, did drug trafficking and all that stuff down in Florida. Ran the Florida corridor. Anyways, he got approached by this guy hits him up off Craigslist because he was a scuba diver. He'd do rescue dives and mark things and stuff.
Okay.
Gets an inquiry. This hits the guy up. He said it was super sketchy. These guys take him out in the bay. They had a man overboard pin on their GPS. And they're like, hey, just dive. Here's a bottle with a rope. Just hit the D-ring to it and just come up and get in the boat. And he's like, he knew exactly what it was. He says he goes down, dives, and it's a bundle of just kilos on the bottom. Hooks this little D-ring on, little Gatorade bottle, whatever it was, goes to the top. He gets in the boat. They drive him to the shore, drop him off, gave him a couple grand in cash. And he was like, holy shit. And he was like, okay, cool. So he does this like 5 or 6 times, like makes some decent money. Well, then he starts kind of stressing on it. He's like, oh, fuck, dude, I'm going to get pinched and I'm a cop. I know what's going on. Like, I know who these people are. Like, there's no denying that I'm going to get busted for what I'm doing.
And bad guys are, if they have to flip and save anyone, save their, like, get time off.
They're rolling you out.
Rolling cops and politicians 100% of the time.
So he ends up ratting out, goes, they put this whole sting together. They're filming everything. They call him a couple more times. Like, this went on like over a year.
Crazy.
Builds this whole entire thing. And so then they end up doing a sting. They arrest him. They arrest the guy. So make it all look, and they throw him in jail with the guy that he was working with. And he said this cartel member was sitting there and he's like, man, we're screwed. He's talking to the cartel member because they don't know he's a cop. And he's like, dude, we're screwed. And he's like, we'll be out of here this afternoon. Don't worry about it. And both of them make bail. And they walked out, but they ended up biting the whole case and everything went for but that's what that story ended up leading. I'm like, well, dude, how would you move drugs? And he went into this whole entire thing. So I won't go into how did he move drug part. But my question to you is, how do you beat a canine nose?
You're not.
So if I double vacuum seal, put in a jar of peanut butter, I'm asking for everybody else, not for me.
None of that works.
None of that works?
Border Patrol did a study. I think it's Border Patrol, someone down south. And there was like about a 7. So they touched narcotics, ungloved, rewrapped, and then put axle grease and like degloved between each process. So you're not cross-contaminating by any means. And 3 or 4 times or whatever it may be. So you're a kilo that's wrapped, cellophane, deep in axle grease, rewrap it, and they did like 3 or 4 times, and it only lasted about 72 hours before the dog could then.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. Like maybe like if you were to, I don't know, but the cross contamination is the biggest problem that a lot of smugglers or even organizations have. Like the cross contamination where they might put gloves on, but then they're gonna like go touch the kilo and then not be exchanging, re-gloving or whatever it may be. So it's the cross-contamination a lot of times, even if you do have it sealed up really well and wrapped. And I mean, I've seen anything you could think of: deer piss, coffee grounds, all of it.
Oh, really?
Grease, yeah, all of it. Like, the multiple layers and same stuff. And once everything's porous though, so eventually it's going to come out. So, I think seeing that for 72 hours, like what the Border Patrol did or someone down there for 72 hours, I think that, I don't know what you could do to actually beat them consistently.
No shit.
Over time, the order's got to come out because you don't have something that's like so sealed that it doesn't breathe at all. Like concrete or something. I don't fucking know.
I feel like concrete's pretty porous too.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder... somebody will hear this and be like, actually, dude, you should see some of the messages we get after I have people on. They're like, actually, this is how I've been doing it for this. Man, I'm like, holy shit. Want to come tell the story? And they're like, nope.
But I mean, again, if someone's doing it, is the dog not alerting because the dog isn't properly trained, or did he not get odor because it's not leaving the car, or the multitude of factors. There could be. I don't know. I don't think. I'm sure someone will probably rebuttal this, but I don't care. But I don't know of a way. I've never heard of a way.
Interesting. Did you get to train your dog, or did it come trained and then you guys build the bond by ongoing training and everything?
So they both of them came knowing the odor, but then Mojo, I had 2 months with him to train with him. So meaning knowing the odor, like if you have a perfect environment, like in a box, dogs will find it. So then we have to train the ability to like, move it deeper into places, having masking odor, having distraction odor, and all of that other stuff. So that's very time consuming. You got to go and increments, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because like if I was to take him and he knows odor, but I was to throw it behind a wall, he knows odor, but he's not going to be able to theoretically detect it if he doesn't know like thresholds and depths and those types of things.
Interesting. How long is that process?
That was about 2 months, and that's only single purpose.
Oh, really?
That's not any of the patrol work or anything like that. Yeah.
Which he's not.
No, he's not. Yeah. But I'm saying like you look at.
But that's why he's so good, because they're single purpose.
Yeah, I mean, it's a singular focus. I don't have to worry about other things, you know. So when we're training, it's just dope work and obedience, and I mean, there's great patrol dogs that are great at finding dope too. It's so much more time into that dog.
For sure,
you got to do both.
Damn, yeah, I guess you're right, huh? And plus, having a bite dog, I feel like it's such a liability. I just watched a video yesterday, and this guy cop rams his car, smashes into like a house wall. The guy jumps out of his car, runs up to the cop door, and the cop gets out, pops his door, and the canine just runs straight by the guy. And he's yelling at the dog, yelling at the guy to get on the ground. The dog's just running around looking for something to bite, and the guy he runs right by the criminal. And I was just like, oh my God, like what if there was just some woman walking or something, and you're like, my bad. Like, how do you?
That'd be terrible.
Yeah, so I feel like having a drug dog would be much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And plus, you don't have a crazy Malinois barking in your truck or your car the whole day.
Both of mine. So the Dutch Shepherd kind of mirrors Malinois, so kind of but that he didn't bark. Neither of them, thank God, because I was like, man, if I couldn't handle that, I'd lose my mind. Like I don't know how handlers have their dogs barking back there.
You hear them key out, and there's just dog barking the whole entire time.
I would lose my mind. There's no way. But yeah, both mine have been pretty quiet. They don't bark in the car. It's nice.
Is there a really cool moment that you've been able to share with any of your canines?
What do you mean?
Big bust wise?
For sure. Mm-hmm.
What's one of those?
It was cool knowing the dope world and then watching Gibby alert to some heavy odor. So Mojo, I was learning. I didn't know, so I guess I didn't enjoy the moment as much. But then like December 2024, another car hauler, it ended up having 100,000 fentanyl pills and like 5 kilos of fentanyl.
Holy crap.
Yeah, seeing Gibby alert to that was cool to see. Cool to watch.
Holy Is fentanyl pretty scary for you?
Yes, at first, because there were so many misconceptions out there in those types of things. I feel like and someone's going to say that this is wrong, but from my understanding, unless you get it on like something that's porous, like in your nose, in your eyes, in your mouth, like if just getting on your skin, it's not going to have an impact on you.
Oh, because you hear it does. Like, they touched a grain of rice size and cop overdosed on her, kid overdosed on it.
And from my understanding, that's not true. Because that's why they have the patches for like people that actually need it, and then they turn it into like a liquid or a gel form, because then it goes. But the powder form, theoretically, it doesn't go into.
You have to ingest it somehow?
Somehow, yeah. Like eyes. So it could theoretically blown in the air, you ingest it that way or something like that. But just by touching it or having it on you, I mean, so... that was always scary, finding it. Like, you're finding it, like, literally, and you're seeing it. And especially when the pills came out, because they're so they're made so shitty, like, that they turn into powder. They, like, crumble over time. Okay. And those aren't usually, depending on how you find them, aren't packaged as secure as a kilo. So you're seeing powder, like, and I don't know. It was always scary until education kind of evolved, and you saw that just seeing the powder or it getting on your skin theoretically wasn't going to do anything.
I feel like you got a pretty sketchy job, as a cop, because if you're specifically going after drugs and money.
It's any criminal, though. I mean, I come across guys that are doing fraud and retail theft. And
is it, though? Well, I'm talking as far as scary wise, because I feel like they have a lot more to lose than some guy that's stealing from a thrift store versus the guy having $700K of some cartel money in his trunk, and that it's his life now. Yeah. Do you ever think of it that way?
No, but no? I not really, because I think that occasionally we're going to come across someone that has ties, but a lot of times it's just like either they're on their down on their luck or whatever, maybe, and they're transporting a product. They just have a messed up moral compass. It's not necessarily their product. Okay. They don't necessarily have close ties, and for the most part, and from my understanding, from my experience, the organization isn't going to do something nefarious unless you snitch. Like, if you just get a product taken off, it's part of their business model.
Okay, and if you make a big scene about that, then it's even more flags on the organization.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense, because I've always thought that, or always wondered that if it's harder, if there's more pressure for narcotics cops on the road, because you're obviously they have ties to somebody bigger than who's driving it when they get pulled over. If it's because you see some of these guys, they get out just guns blazing, some of those old cop videos I'm sure you've seen, and then they find a bunch of drugs in the car. So I wasn't sure if it's every situation like, oh, fuck, here we go.
No, I think if anything, I think your local narcs that are dealing with people within their own community probably have it a little rougher, because they're the ones that's like their livelihood. You know what I'm saying? They're moving a little, maybe an ounce of coke, and they have a gun and money, and that's their freedom and that's their livelihood. And then, like they're within that community that you're working on a regular basis. And I feel like those guys have the potential to be more violent, because you're taking not only their livelihood and their freedom, but so you're taking their livelihood, that's all they have. And then you're taking their freedom. Where it's a mule, it's like, that might be $100,000 worth of dope, but that's not their money.
Yeah.
Their freedom might be screwed, but you're not taking both of them.
Interesting. I've never looked at it from that perspective before. Did you ever do a lot with narcs?
Occasionally, like I'll help them out, just because, we're smaller departments, things like that. So I'll help them out if they need smaller things. I don't run like CIs. I don't, that's not my investigation, but if they need a dog for doing a search warrant, or if they need a car stop, things along those lines, I'll help them out with those.
So you've pretty much been on the drug task force the whole entire time then? You never went, U.S. Marshals or any of those to help out? This was your passion?
100%.
Good for you.
It's been fun. I can't complain about anything, man. I love it.
Good. Okay, so teaching now. I see. Obviously, you're here visiting. This is how we were able to connect.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
what's going on? What are you teaching these other law enforcement officers around the country?
Pretty much everything we talked about. I'm teaching the interdiction aspect of it, but a lot of it is I focus communication. I tell everyone, like, man, the communication during your traffic stop is going to make or break your case, and it's going to you're going to have a fruitful career, and you're going to have a lot of luck and success with that, or you're going to be the robot cop that is out there just writing out tickets and being frustrated that you see other people finding criminals on the highway. So, so I started teaching in 2017.
Okay.
Through the federal government, they used to have a program. It was called the it was like Epic Diet. And I went and spent 11 days
Epic
down.
what?
It's Epic DIAP. It was Drug Interdiction Assistance Program.
Okay.
It was an acronym, my bad.
Yep.
Yeah, I should explain that. But I went down to El Paso and became a trainer with them through their trainer course. And then under a previous administration, for whatever reason, they got rid of it. And it was, what I loved about that program is they had an initial class, and then they had an advanced ride class. And it was free to your agency, and the federal government paid the instructors, and your department just basically gave you the time off. But we would go and we'd teach a class, and then we would have the ability to go ride with you on your highway and show you firsthand like what we're looking for, how we're doing it. And it was amazing.
Okay, so you're taking your skills and you're learning from them, or are they teaching you at that time?
So once I went through the whole trainer course, then we were able to go and go ride with cops that wanted to learn. And it was the only program that I know of that you were capable of doing it, because it was sanctioned by the federal government.
How cool is that?
It was amazing.
So you're traveling all over, like, hey, this is what we look for. This is
so we put you through
ask these types of questions.
Yep. So
damn.
And then
okay.
it's like you're getting your own and that was amazing. And that was around since the 80s, and then the previous administration put a nix to it.
Shocker.
And they talked about money. I'm like, no, they're talking about the money that they're spending. I'm like, how much money are you actually spending to just a plane ticket and a hotel room, and for 2 or 3 instructors to go? I don't know. Anyways, get off that. So that quit, and so we have our own private company now, where my business partner is an attorney and an active law enforcement officer. I teach the interdiction aspect. He teaches case law. And then we have Heather Glogalich, who teaches a leadership type class.
What's the name of the company? You want to promote it?
Justice Academy.
Okay.
And we started a conference last year, and we're doing another one this year. It's $99 for anyone to go, because conferences have become astronomically expensive.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And what we've done is we brought a bunch of instructors together from other companies that are all willing to donate their time, which is amazing. And so from the DIAP program, where I was able to give back, I wasn't getting paid for that. We try to do it this way, where we have a conference and we give back to the profession in some way, shape, or fashion. We don't take any profit from that. If we do make money, like we made minimal money last year, but a lot of people were like upset we didn't have coffee. So now we're going to buy coffee for you because we had a little bit of money left over to kind of just keep it flowing.
Yeah.
If we do make it any type of considerable amount of money, we've talked about donating it to like maybe an FOP or a nonprofit with wherever we have the conference at.
Oh, shit.
It's the way we can give back, and it's cool that we bring people together because for whatever reason in the law enforcement education realm, sometimes there's animosity and things. So like
There's a lot.
So now if I have 10 different companies and instructors from those 10 different companies that are coming together to give back, kind of kills that stigma, I hope.
I've been involved in the charity world for 12 years, and it's the same thing. Nobody wants to work together, and it's like there are donors or there are clients, whatever it may be. And so that's when I was work with these other charities. I'm like, yo, why don't you guys just join us?
Yeah.
You guys got awesome resources. So do we. Like, let's just put this together. And it's crazy when people are like, oh, wow, I'm not doing this all on my own. Or, hey, you guys got a really great thing going on. How do I team? I wish everybody thought like that. Businesses would thrive 100 times quicker and grow so much faster if you would just work together and work with other people, and your name's going to be out there. That's why when you gatekeep and want to hoard, it's just you're living in your own little world. But if you're bringing all these people together, and then that word's going to spread. Man, they had this company and this company. These guys were showing this. These guys were displaying this. Then people want to join that.
It's funny because I was up here for the Canine Association or whatever, and I hung out all week with them, and I was talking to them, and we were talking about our multi-agency like SWAT team. 18 different agencies, all on the same SWAT team, putting money together. Now you're not buying like, oh, you have to buy an AMRAP, you have to buy an AMRAP and Bearcat. And like now we have all the money together, and the commander has, MOUs. The commander who runs it has full say of what goes on if you call us out and those types of things. So like, I think even in the government aspect, in the law enforcement, why not like if you, instead of everyone having their own shit, like put money together, we all work together and you have better equipment, better training, more officers available to you.
Better quality officer.
Yeah, 100%. It just, I don't know. It's interesting. I think it happens all over, like within law enforcement what I see, but you're saying the same exact thing from what you were dealing with.
Oh, absolutely. That's pretty cool. So you guys are teaching these. So what are they needing from you? Like what exactly are you teaching? Like canine handling skills?
So up here, this was the first time that they brought an interdiction course to the Canine Association. So I came up here and I taught my full course, but then I hung out and just watched their dogs work. I mean, I've worked 2 dogs, but is it my expertise? Not by far. There's many, many handlers that are way better than I will ever be. But they kind of just like if they had questions, and I just got to hang out with them. It was cool. Bunch of good cops up here. I don't know, like. I feel like in law enforcement, like busting chops and talking smack, like you can kind of tell like what department or what agencies you're involved with or how they're ran, and that camaraderie sticks out. So that everyone up here was like just talking shit to each other. Everyone's joking around. No one's getting butthurt, and it was cool to see because that's kind of how it is back at home.
Yeah, good for you. That's good. Good thing.
Cool. Yeah.
And your department allows you to come and do that kind of stuff?
I take my time off.
Okay.
As a canine handler, you get like 12 days off a month. I took a vacation this time, but usually when I go to teach a class, I'll take 3 days off. So then I still have, 9 days of off time that I could spend with my wife and whatever without burning vacation and stuff like that.
Good for you, man.
I only teach once a month too, so it's not too terrible. It's not too taxing.
Yeah. Damn, man. You've had a hell of a career.
Thanks, man. I don't know. I don't take compliments well. I don't know what to say. It's
not
cool
every story. Yeah, not all cop stories are like this. That's for sure. There's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of backstabbing. The whole thin blue line I feel is completely dead, and you hear a lot of that. And because these guys get so burned because they're so passionate in the beginning, and then they find out the reality of police work, and it doesn't go the way that they go. Kind of what we've talked about previous in the show. And yeah, I'm happy for you, man. There's not a lot of stories that are on this side of the line of guys that are proud and have 20 years and still loving their job. Very rare, I feel. It's
disheartening to see. Like when I watch those podcasts, man, I feel bad for them because I start to look at myself and I'm like, damn, that sucks. Like I probably would be in the same boat if I was dealing with some of the stuff that they're dealing with, and it's just frustrating because I think the profession needs to attract those type of cops, especially the ones that want to go out there and take bad guys to jail, and seeing that negative aspect of it sucks.
I think policing in general needs its own complete overhaul. We need to swipe law enforcement completely clean of the slate and rebuild it back. Times have changed. Technology has changed. Everything is different from...
I think we need to disconnect the politics from policing.
How?
Policing's black and white. Like the laws say this is
Used to be.
It is. I mean, it still is. Like, but that's my problem. Like, you start adding politics into it, and that's the problem. Like,
you start bending that black and white line.
Yeah. Like you're moving that to benefit you for some political gain or whatever it may be, and either way, it's bullshit. It shouldn't be. Don't go tell me a good job when I do a good job, and don't tell me like I'm doing something wrong when I'm doing it right. Like I don't want it. I don't want any of it. Just let me go work. Leave me alone, and that's how all policing should be. There's no need to be like, oh, like, and I think that we just become the scapegoat because we're the lowest common
100%.
denominator. Like it's not like, I don't know. It just gets frustrating when you start to politicize law enforcement on both ends. Don't politicize it at fucking all. It shouldn't be covered. It's like, if you don't like a law, vote in a new legislator to change the law. We're just enforcing a law that society has picked as a law that was voted on, and theoretically, if you don't like as society, you can change that politician. Hey, go to your legislator. I don't want this law in the books anymore. Laws change every year for us. We evolve, we mold. As law enforcement, we're just enforcing that social contract that you voted on.
I'm with you 100%. I agree on everything you just said. I personally don't think chiefs, captains should be voted on anything. I think it should all come from internal.
Yeah, I agree.
Because then you have politics involved. When you have somebody, Gabe Smith was on Reno cop and outed the chief or the lieutenant there. She got fired a week later.
Yeah.
So after his episode aired, but she was brought from California because she had worked her way through the DEI hire, all that bullshit he was saying. Then why would you bring a cop from California to take over a department in Reno? You mean to tell me inside of that department, they haven't been grooming anybody? There's nobody to step in that knows that city, knows the department, knows the men and women that are working there? That's why I think everything should be promoted from within, and then it should be their own ranks, because then you don't have some chief that's at the coffee shop every morning rubbing elbows with all the old farts in town that have the pull, but meanwhile he goes back to the department and he's a turd.
Yep.
But if you had a vote from inside the department, then you have to play the game with your guys. You have to look out for them. It's just like on any special ops team, like you can get peered out anytime. But that's just me personally. I mean, you can shit on that idea, but it just makes the most sense to me. Why would you bring outside entities in to run your department when they don't know anything about it?
And from my perspective, anytime you bring someone from the outside, that morale of that agency goes to shit.
Kills it
instantly. And like what that is saying from a law enforcement's perspective is none of you are good enough to do this.
100%.
None of you are good enough to do this job. And then that, again, if that's the case, then it's a failure on the previous chief, because that chief should be training the next one.
Yep.
He should be training someone else to take his spot. Like, so it's
also a slippery slope, because if that guy's a piece of shit, he's training his next little protege to become the next piece of shit, and the corruption continues. But if they're voting from within it, it's not his choice.
Yep.
I guess it can go either way. I try to look at everything. I really try to put myself in all the different angles and everybody's shoes, because it's the good old boy system that you have to kill.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think having enough, like an FOP or a union or whatever it may be, we have FOPs by us, so a PBA, that's more of an East Coast thing. But if you have that is willing to stay together and be like, no, this chief sucks, the morale's terrible, and we need to get a new one in there. Like, again, focus on that middle management. Very few of us are ever going to be chiefs, but a lot of us are going to be sergeants, lieutenants, and corporals, and that's where you can affect the most change, I feel like.
Yep, I agree. Okay, last question. For all the young bucks that want to make a difference and serve their communities, what would be one message to anybody that's looking to join law enforcement at this point?
It is definitely the best profession that you could get into. You will have the biggest impact on your community without having to be a politician. I feel like you're going to have firsthand impact. And I mean, don't buy into all the negativity. Like, I feel like we see negativity in law enforcement on a regular basis. And from my perspective, things can be negative, but the majority is positive.
Love it, dude. real quick. I didn't even shout this shit out in the beginning. You might have to edit this into the intro, my love. No, you don't have to. Well, I'm gonna send you home, dude. This is his name's Chris. He was a Navy vet, went out for SEALs, made it all the way through training, and all the way right at the end ended up getting hurt and dropped from SEALs. So he never ended up accomplishing, completing buds, but got out. He makes really high-end fitness apparel. So I'm going to send you home with a tank from him as a vet, and then I got you a Wild Chaos hat. So
Awesome, bro.
I appreciate your time, man.
No,
I appreciate the conversation and giving me 3 hours and 3.5 hours of your time. And
Crazy.
talk law enforcement. It was really nice to be able to get a different perspective of a cop that enjoys his career and everything that he's built. It shows that if you do it right, and if you don't like it, change your stars, get on a different path, try and change a different team. Or I know a lot of departments, it's not an option. They're doing what they can just to get bodies in the seats. But if you have an option, grow.
I do think if you're a cop and you don't like, if your policing philosophy doesn't match your agency, you can go wherever you want. Everyone needs cops. So you find an agency and don't go to ask the chief. Go ask the guys and girls that are working the road. Like, hey, do they support you? Are you allowed to be the police? I want to go take bad guys to jail. Cool. You can lateral so easily anywhere you want to go right now.
100. I preach this. I can't deal with anybody that bitches about their job. Shut up. I don't, dude. I picked up E6. I was a staff sergeant. I was a 6-year staff sergeant in the Marine Corps, which never happens. I had my whole career set ahead of me. I hated it. Hated it. Got out. I walked away from a guaranteed paycheck. I got promoted to E6, so it's not like you're going to lose rank. I mean, they say it takes an act of Congress to break you down. Got promoted fast tracked through everything, did my time, and dude, I hated it. And that's why I left guaranteed everything. I was starting a family, terrifying, and I was like, not worth it for me. I am one of those people, if you do not like your job, shut the fuck up and change it. You cannot sit there and check in every single day, bitch about it, complain about it, because then it comes cancer inside of you. You become cancer. You start making your job even worse. Everybody else around you. Before you know it, you're miserable. And you're 15, 20 years in. I don't care if you're 15 years in. Change your job. I see it every day, and they're the happiest people. Start a side hustle. I mean, you sit in your squad car for 8 hours, 10 hours a day. Start something, start Googling some shit while you're waiting for someone to speed by. Right. I'm 100%. We're understaffed and everywhere in the departments across this country. Go move to a different state, change your life over, start over. You don't like it, go to the next one. No, nobody says you can't.
I agree. Completely agree.
Change it, quit, move on, do something different. Dude, thanks for your time.
And I appreciate having me.
I appreciate the conversation. This is great.
No, thank you.
You can slide that out of the way. Just push it forward. Thanks, dude.
No, thank you, man.